No, it holds. It's big. Oh, it's big. Oh, okay.
Good. All right. Good evening, everyone. Today is Monday, August 25th. The time is 6:07 p.m., and this meeting is officially called to order. Please join me, if you're able to, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilmember Brusher.
Here.
Councilmember Coyle.
Here.
Councilmember Patel.
Here.
Councilmember Patil.
Here.
Councilmember Pointer.
Present. That'd be it. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Adequate notice, please.
Adequate notice of this meeting as required by the Open Public Meeting Act of 1975 has been provided by the annual notice sent to the Home News Tribune, Star Ledger, Desi Talk on November 18th, 2024, and posted in the lobby municipal complex on that same date.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. At this time, for Council President's remarks, I do see that there are some new faces in the audience, so just to give a little bit of an overview of how the meeting generally goes. The first part will be going over Township business, so we will review the agenda and then cause action on the agenda. After that, it will be open for public comment on you'll have public comment on the resolutions when that comes up. Afterwards, then we will open up for public comment in regards to anything that you wish to discuss. You'll have 4 minutes to be able to discuss those items. After that, we will have a couple other housekeeping items such as points of light, committee reports, and then discussion items amongst the council members. Just as a general reference, the grace period for the third quarter tax payments was extended until September 2nd, so I just wanted to make sure that people were aware of that. Thank you. This time we're going to move to unfinished business, ordinances for further consideration and public hearing and final adoption. At this time, we're going to open up to the council for any comments, questions, or concerns on 02251 and ordinance 2252. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Seeing none, at this time, I'm going to move to proposed ordinances. We have several on the docket for tonight. I will go individually and open it up to council for, again, comments, questions, or concerns. First, ordinance 2253. Any questions, comments, or concerns? This is for the bond for sanitation.
Quick question.
Brusher?
Yes, how many years will the bond for this be?
I'm going to ask Ken to please respond.
Yeah, this is for equipment, so typically it's for 5 to 7 years, the useful life of this improvement.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments, or concerns? Seeing none, we'll move on to the next one, ordinance 2254. This is the bond ordinance for the water utility. Any questions, comments, or concerns?
Yes, question.
Councilman Brusher.
Water utility. The funds to pay this back, this bond, comes out of the water budget, right? That would be out of their capital?
Correct. It comes out of the debt service portion of the water utility budget.
So it's only the residents that use Edison water?
Correct.
Not Middlesex water customers?
Correct. The debt service is built into the rate structure for water users. It does not, nothing comes out of general taxes to support this.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Brusher. Any other questions, comments, or concerns? For myself, I'm just going to elaborate as to what this bond would cover. Approximately $16.8 million would be towards water main improvements. As many people are aware, our water system is a bit dated inside of the township, and this would be used to repair that system. Additionally, $945,000 is allocated towards various vehicle and equipment purchases to be able to facilitate those types of repairs. Thank you. Next, ordinance 2255, sewer bond ordinance. Any comments, questions, or concerns?
The typical years for this, because this is a capital, right?
Yes, for repairs to the pumping station, that typically is 20 years. Sewer line replacement can go as high as 40 years, and equipment is generally in the 5 to 7 year range.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions, comments, or concerns? Again, just a general overview. 4.8 would be allocated towards pump station rehabilitation. 8.25 in regards to sewer line improvements, which is part of the ACO agreement that the township is in with the state. And 858,000 for vehicle purchase and equipment purchases. Thank you. Next, 2256, capital improvement bond ordinance. Any comments, questions, or concerns? Seeing none. This one is a bit lengthier, so I won't go through every single line item. However, we do have purchases for IT technology to upgrade our Wi-Fi infrastructure, renovation of the police firing range, purchasing of a heavy-duty vehicle for the fire department, numerous Department of Health items in regards to the Tote Center, office furniture, the animal shelter renovation, Stelton Community Center, and the Edison Light Transit. Public Works, we have building and ground improvements, equipment purchases, park improvements, road equipment, and vehicle maintenance. Under engineering, we have our standard roadway resurfacing, stormwater system GIS mapping, drainage projects, Central Avenue bike path, archiving services, so anyone that's been looking for documents from the 1980s that has been having trouble because they are not documented properly in PDF format, this would take care of that. And the Truman Avenue, Kilmer Road traffic signal. We have a couple of other department purchases, and that would encompass the bond there. Thank you. Ordinance 2257, tent permit fee ordinance. Any comments, questions, or concerns? Seeing none. Ordinance 2258, ordinance authorizing property acquisition. Any comments, questions, or concerns? Yes,
I
Councilman
would
Brunswick.
just ask if someone could explain the 2258 and the 2259 to the public, and to myself even.
Sure. So this is part of, and to the administration, please correct me, or would you like to respond?
No, go ahead, Council President. I'll chime in if you'd
Thank you.
like.
This is part of the Thomas Place redevelopment plan, which is in conjunction with the John Street redevelopment plan. This was authorized for an area in need of redevelopment, condemnation. My understanding, there is no technical condemnation. This is a straight purchase aspect that we are authorized to do because we did the developers agreement last year. I forget the exact time frame, but that is all tied into the redevelopment plan and is for senior housing, if I recall correctly. So the first item is in regards to the actual acquisition that the township is able to acquire the property. And then the second one is to use the contributions from the developers agreement to actually fund that acquisition. And if
Yes, correct. And I just want to be clear so that the residents understand that we are not putting any money towards this. We're not buying anything. This is just strictly a transactional process that we're taking as part of the redevelopment agreement. So that's all that is.
Is that good?
Yes.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments, or concerns? I'll group 2258 and 2259 together then.
Council President?
Yes, Councilman Coyle.
For 2258, can you just walk me through what part we do an acquisition of land?
So
I'm just not familiar with
this
that.
property is the gas station.
I know where it is.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, no, that part. So we're taking title to the property?
Yeah, we are allowed to purchase the property using the funds from the developers fund. And that will further the redevelopment plan that this council had authorized back in 22 and 23, I believe. And
More or less, yes.
thank you. Any other questions, comments, or concerns? Seeing none, move on to number 7, review of minutes, items A and B. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Seeing none, we'll go to the review of the agenda. 8, from the business administrator. A, resolution authorizing a reimbursement to the Central Jersey Joint Insurance Fund. B, resolution authorizing purchase order for internet light pass services in the amount of $68,400. And C, resolution to renew membership in the Central Jersey Joint Insurance Fund. Any questions, comments, or concerns?
Question.
Yes, Councilman Brescher.
With the cable vision light path. I know that we receive, I believe it's $220,000 a year from Optimum. And do we also receive money from Comcast?
Are you referring to the franchise fees?
Yes.
Okay, I'd have to just check. As far as I'm concerned, they're new, so we have probably not collected any. But let me just confirm.
Okay, could you check on that and let me know? Because this here is kind of like a IT type thing, right?
Yes, correct.
So it kind of offsets what we would get. I just want to make sure we're collecting it, that's all. That would be it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Brescher. Any other questions, comments, or concerns? Just to further on the internet light path, this is a 3-year contract at $22,800 per year, and this will actually increase the municipal building fiber internet from 1 gigabyte to 2 gigabyte. Next, item 9 from the Department of Finance. A, disbursement reports. B, refund of redemption of tax sale certificates. C, refund of exempted disabled veteran taxes. D, water overpayment refund. E, tax overpayment refund. F, receipt of sustaining local public health infrastructure grant, $193,000. G, receipt of opioid settlement monies, $353,000. And H, resolution approving corrective action plan for 2024 audit. Any questions, comments, or concerns?
Council President?
Yes, Councilman Patel.
On G, what's the total we have for the opioid settlement monies now?
I want to say give or take 15 million, just that when we last spoke, it was about 14 million. But let us just calculate the number. I think we can just get that for you if you just hold on tight.
Okay, and just to follow up, do we have a plan as to how to use that money, or do we have something in motion? I know we were looking into getting hires, right?
Correct. So we've expanded our substance abuse program within. We're now going to meet to discuss some additional programming and how to expend those funds. That includes some public safety initiatives as well, and some senior services. And so we did put out an RFP before. It didn't quite fit the scope of what we're allowed to do per the opioid list of, things you can and can't do. So we have to redo that. But with Mr. DeRoberts' assistance, we're going to be able to really hone in on exactly what kind of programming. There's some really strict guidelines as to how you can expend the money. And certainly we want to make sure that, and reporting at that. So we want to make sure that we're doing the right thing because we do get audited.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments, or concerns?
Council President,
Yes, Councilman Coyle.
I'm always excited to see more opioid money come to Edison and how important it is for awareness of opioids and mental health. So I'm very curious to see how colorful this will be when we put it together, and certainly want to see a lot of awareness brought to young teens and adults and families. I've read this grant up and down, and there's a lot of opportunity in it, so I'm looking forward to seeing what we do put together. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Councilman Coyle. Any other council members? Seeing none. 10, from the Department of Health. A, authorizing acceptance of grant from the New Jersey Department of Health for strengthening local public health capacity program, 2026, $64,788. And B, authorizing an agreement with Middlesex County to accept funds for the childhood lead poisoning prevention program, $95,000 from 2024 to 2025, and $67,469 from 2025 to 26. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Seeing none, item 11, from the Department of Planning and Engineering. A, resolution authorizing.
You can group these if you
Yes,
want to.
all the
Just for your sake,
individuals,
for your
yes.
throat,
But because it is a lengthy agenda and I know it's being a little cumbersome, I did want to be transparent with everyone in regards to what is on the agenda. A, resolution authorizing change order 1 for an additional funds to Remington Vernick Engineers for the Edison landfill closure evaluation, closure design, and permitting, $449,940. Resolutions B through T are all fee refunds and bond releases. Resolutions U, V, CC, and DD are in regards to converting properties from market rate to affordable. And W through BB are more refunds and bond releases. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Councilman Brusher?
Yes, the landfill. I know we have money set aside to close the landfill. I don't know if it was 11 million or 17 million, I forgot. How long will this evaluation take? Because I remember Assemblyman Karabinchik, he got Edison money to close this. And I know that we approved it at one time. So where are we in the process of coming up with a design to close this?
Sure, and I'll let Brian continue, but it's expanded and therefore we have to do a little more digging. That's why we're contracting with these folks. So Brian, if you could.
So during the process of the landfill closure design, DEP notified the township that dumping occurred in what is considered the environmental benefit area, which is roughly 12 times the size of the original landfill. So it's not going to be quick. It's going to be several years before we can close it with all the testing and DEP coordination because of the additional area we now have to test.
So what I'm hearing, right, and this is just what I'm hearing, and it's one of the things that disturbed me about government, this money here is going to come from that closure money that we had.
The 17 million and change, I believe, yes.
Right. So at the end of the day, 17 million was put away to close the landfill. And in typical government fashion, right, whether it's DEP or whoever it is, we're going to expend probably $17 million in engineering and studying and monitoring so that when we go to close it, it's going to cost the residents $40 million. I mean, where are we? Can we get an estimate, Sonia, on this whole? This has turned into a debacle at this point when I just heard this. But can we get like an estimate with timelines and not that the 17 million is gone when maybe my grandson is a council person?
No, but this is all through state. It's in a state-funded account, so that's where it lies. It's not necessarily in our municipal budget or anything like that. So when we first took on this land closure, because it had been dormant for quite some time,
And I commend you for that.
and that's why it's expanded. I think we're in a better position now with RVE to proceed with the closure. So that said, that's how much money we have in the fund, not necessarily what will amount to close it. So I couldn't tell you exactly what it is, but what this council and previous councils have done is put money and set aside to do the right thing. So we just want to make sure that we proceed with the closure at this point.
Right, but like what I'm hearing now is that they're looking for more sampling, right? So that then the engineers can determine whether they actually need to make it bigger or they can just clean up and remediate that. I assume that's what this is about.
So the additional testing is to locate the edges of the environmental benefit area and what was actually dumped in that area. It may be the full 12 times the size of the original project. It could be roughly half. Going off of DEP's site investigation, they only did surface. However, we need to go and do a disruption permit to do digging and testing to find the actual limits, so we can do the design, see how much we need to abate, and so forth. So right now, I can't even give you an estimate what a final design or a final construction number and abatement number will be, because we don't know the full extent of.
So this $500,000, what do we get for that? Is that the guy in an excavator taking dirt and samples out that then are going to be tested? Or is this for an engineer to basically draw little dots as to where he wants the samples?
So I just want to refer, sorry, Brian, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but in the report that's attached to the resolution on page 6, I would start on page 6 because everything else before that has been done. So you're looking at a minor disruption report, you're looking at a closure application with DEP, and so that is where the engineering firm is going to do all of the requirements, and they're listed here. So you've got tasks 1 through 7 that need to be completed in order to then actually close it, cap it.
Okay, so part of the sampling and all that is in this, right?
Yes, correct, and a lot of it has been done.
Okay. All right, thank you. I'll take a look, and if I have further questions, I'll bring it to your attention, Sonia. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Brescher. Also, I do want to note that I know we had the fund set up, but $356,000 will be, of this change order, will be reimbursable through the NJDEP Bureau of Solid Waste Planning and Licensing escrow. So a substantial amount of it will actually be refunded through a different source. And to the scope, you had mentioned, scope will include test pits, monitoring, well sampling, leachate seep sampling, surface water sediment sampling, landfill gas monitoring, pump test, installation, temporary well points, and the disruption report, as was mentioned. Thank you. Any other questions, comments, or concerns?
Council President.
Sorry, Councilman Coyle?
Okay. Did I jump the gun there on you?
You did.
You didn't speak before me, though.
Tie goes to the runner.
Thank you. Council President, I just want to thank everyone on this council for their leadership and continue to care about affordable housing and how important affordable housing is. I'm thankful to the mayor and the administration to put forward conversions of opportunities for young adults to seniors to have a place to live that's affordable. As most people know, to live in town here is expensive, and if you're a student with a graduate degree, some people are leaving Edison. It's just too expensive. So it's important that we have more opportunity on the books. I'm thankful we're doing this. This is a good thing. Some people stray away from affordable housing and have a bad taste in their mouth. It is a good thing for Edison, and I'm looking forward to how we continue to strategically plan affordable housing in town. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Coyle. Councilman Patel?
Yes, I had the question on the same thing on the letter B for the affordable housing. For my edification, how does one go about getting into the affordable housing? What is the process? And just for general knowledge.
So as you know, we contract with the firm CGP&H, and the program is administered through them. So they put in an application. I know there is a waiting period, probably a couple years or so. So they have to go through that process in order to apply for the program.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you. And also, Councilman Patel, there's a website called affordablehomesnewjersey.com, which helps guide people through the process as well. Thank you. Any other questions, comments, or concerns? Seeing none, 12 from the Department of Public Works. A, refund of street opening escrows. B, resolution for furnishing new fencing at various locations. C, resolution awarding contract for materials not to exceed $1.342 million. D, resolution awarding contract for fuel not to exceed $1.5 million. E, resolution awarding contract to various vendors for the furnishing of plumbing services not to exceed $75,000. F, resolution awarding contract for the furnishing of plumbing supplies, equipment, and accessories, not to exceed $60,000. G, resolution authorizing change order 1 for emergency traffic signal maintenance, repairs, and upgrades, $42,271. H, resolution authorizing purchase order for the removal and installation of new concrete flooring at the municipal complex, $143,670. And I, resolution awarding purchase order to various vendors for the furnishing of walk-in building supplies and related products, not to exceed $871,000. Any comments, questions, or concerns? For myself, just in regards to the fencing, this will include Crestwood Park, the police garage, Mini B VO pickleball courts, and the Truman Vehicle Yard. Additionally, for anyone that has made comment about the front entranceway, the concrete there, that is what the resolution is for, that's on here, is to repair that. Thank you. Next, from the Department of Recreation, A through C are reimbursements for cancellations, and D, authorizing to purchase snacks through the interlocal service agreement with the Edison Board of Education, $210,000. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Seeing none. 15, from the Department of Water and Sewer. A, resolution to purchase 1 new and unused 2026 service truck with options, $212,583.18. And B, resolution awarding contract for the Gravity Sewer System Inspection Program, Phase 2, $2,109,884. Any questions, comments, or concerns?
Just on, Council President,
Yes, Councilman Patel.
on B, just, I know this is part of the ACO, but just for my edification again, we have to pay for this and then we'll get the loan?
My understanding is that the bond that we authorize is reimbursable through the iBank if all things go through, but if you can elaborate, Sonia.
Correct. So at this stage, we're going to award the contract. So we have gone through the iBank for this particular phase of the project.
Okay.
So, and what happens is we have to bond the money, go through the process on that end, and then we have to show the iBank that we did that, secure the funds, and then we go and upload all of those documents and do all the design part of it and do the bidding, and now we're going to the award stage. So this is all part of the process that we still have to do on our end. But yes, it is the part of the iBank.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, Councilman Brescher?
Yes, for the sewer system inspection program, we did some of this inspection already. Do we have the reports on that, or? On the inspecting of our sewers, right? We did some of that already.
We've only done what we've remediated, but this is to do the entire scope of looking through all of our sewer system.
Through the whole sewer system.
Correct.
And if we approve this, they're going to start doing this.
Right, we'll have a construction meeting, try to initiate exactly where we're going to begin. I have Bob Smith, our water sewer utility folks here. They can elaborate exactly when they anticipate to actually begin the work.
Councilman, this is phase 2 of the collection system inspections. We did phase 1, this is phase 2. It's broken up into 5 sections, so this is phase 2.
And phase 2 will be the entire town.
It'll be a section of the town, not the entire town. We can't do the whole entire town at one time. We're doing it in sections. We cut it up in sections, and we'll do each section as we go. And then after we compile everything at the end, then we'll make. We haven't really found any major repairs in the first section that was done. Little stuff. A big problem I think we're going to have is illegal sump pumps tied into the system.
Well, right, and I mean, that is an issue, but we've talked about that, I don't know, years ago, and we haven't, I haven't seen anybody in the town complain that smoke's coming into their house. So I'm wondering, you know what it is, I guess my frustration is I was big on us doing the sewer and water, right? I mean, you know that. And I just feel like we're not kind of getting to repairing anything at this point. And what I'm saying is now it's been 4 or 5, like 6 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And we're not putting the shovels in the ground. This is the cameras to just determine where we have that leakage.
Right.
I never felt that our pipes were actually that broken, that we had that much I&I. You know, I felt that it was mostly the homeowners, and whether it's homeowners or builders or whoever it was, you know, tying the sump pumps in, and that's really what's generating all of our wastewater.
That's a big part of it. We have found some I&I. We found some intrusions, nothing major. We can do some relining, we'll take care of that. But yeah, it's, we haven't found anything really major to this point.
And at what point do we do something like where we put, we fill the sewer with smoke to determine where it's coming from?
I had asked to do that. Hopefully, we are going to be able to do that. As we find things, and we go to the next section, we find anything major in section 1, we'll go back and make that repair. We'll follow behind after they do their work.
Okay, so in other words, we're going to do this one here, right? If you see a little bit of I&I coming in, you're going to reline a little bit of the pipe.
Yeah.
But at what point then do we actually go to where the problem, what I believe the problem is, which would be, I know residents that tied into the system. So when do we do that? Like, when do we actually solve the problem is where I'm going. Since we've been talking about this, you've probably come up here and I've asked you this now over the course of 6 years, you know?
Right.
At what point? Is that your decision or is that Sonia's decision?
Well, I know, I think to your point, Councilman, the council has committed to doing a 10 to 20-year phase out to make sure that our infrastructure is being not only corrected but maintained. So this is an ongoing project. Part of it, again, is to do all of the sewer inspections, and so that's what phase 2 is. And so to Mr. Smith's point, we haven't found any major issues. I don't want to also confuse the two parts to this, is that this is the sewer utility. The water utility is different, so when we're talking about, you know, water main breaks and things like that, that's a different project we are addressing. But as far as the sewer system, I think it looks like we're okay thus far. But that said, we can't do the entire town, because if we were to do the entire town all at once, that's why we're doing this in phases, then I would probably get a lot more phone calls than we would want, or any of you would want for that matter, because we'd be tearing up every road and every street. So that said, phase 2, if we could just get a synopsis, Bob, of exactly the sections we're going to be working on and share with everyone, I think that's probably more of the important point we want to highlight, and it seems that you want to highlight is just to give people an anticipated spot check as to, you know, where they should avoid, what areas they should avoid.
No, let me tell you where I'm going with this. Edison uses, I'm going to make up a number, 1 million gallons of water. But in our sewer, they're treating 2 million gallons of water. So the county and the state say that we have I&I, which is infiltration of groundwater into our sewer system. I don't believe that that's necessarily the case. What I believe the case is that residents, so they don't have ice in the front of their apron when they pull out, have tied their sump pumps and drainage water into our sewer system. And I know of people that have done that, right? And if you just think about that, like my sump pump probably goes off 2-3 times a day during the summer, and when it's rainy season, it goes off, I don't know, 20 times. I have a high water table by me. But if I were to pump that continuously, and 5 people on my street did, we're pumping, you know, thousands of gallons just from my couple neighbors into the system. And there is a way to solve it. I think they do like a smoke of the sewer.
Right.
And then the smoke will come up in your house, and you call the fire department, and the fire department calls Bob Smith. Bob Smith goes down there and explains that they're illegally tied in. So when do we do something like that?
We will do something like that. We will do that.
When I know that it's actually happening. So people are doing something that's wrong, they probably don't even know. But when do we stop that?
I can't tell you that right now.
That's an administration thing?
I can't tell you that right now. But we will smoke test at some point. We will notify the residents the areas we're doing, so if they see smoke in their homes, that, this is what it's from. It's not harmful. It doesn't bother, it's just so we can see it. If it's coming out roof drains,
Right.
Gutters, leaders, whatever, we'll see it. If it's in the house, we know they're illegally tied into to the collection system. It's illegal to do that. The MCUA has really come down on us to rectify that situation. And that's something we have to do and we will do, hopefully in the very near future.
Is that before my term is up? And the reason why I say it is because it's been 6 years. You know what I mean? So it becomes frustrating on my part when I recognize this is part of the problem. And then I'm sitting here 6 years later. It makes government look very ineffective, inefficient, and almost makes me want to say that we should have sold the sewer and water. I mean, I believed that we could manage it. I'm at the point. No, I'm at the point now where I'm going to say Len Sandelsky, our councilman, Len Sandelsky was right. The Township of Edison does not have the ability to manage sewer and water.
That's
So
not true.
can I find out when we're going to do this, since we've been talking about it? I don't want to hear shortly, right? I'm looking for a date. And remember when I told you, remember when we were going to inspect the sewers, right? And you told me you'd have it done in a year. We were going to inspect them all. And I said, make yourself good. Make it a year and a half. And in a year and a half, you figured out that you couldn't do it. And you had to go to outside vendors to get it done. And then we did. But you see how we did that by giving dates. So I'm looking for a date from you and from the administration as to when we're going to start it. And actually, when we start that area, I'd like to witness it.
You're talking smoke.
Councilman,
Yes.
we'll keep you posted. We're going to have a construction meeting with the company, and we'll another
Okay.
30 days, we'll let you know exactly when that's all going to start and what that looks like.
All right.
Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you, Bob.
Council President, could Bob come back?
Mr. Smith, can I just ask one quick question to Mr.
Sure.
Smith? I appreciate it.
Sure.
Will the water meter replacement program assist in being able to identify those irregularities as well?
No, not on that, no. That'll just get us the water usage that go into homes. If they have leaks, we'll see their meters really spike up or whatever the case might be. But that won't help there, no.
Thank you. Councilman Coyle?
I agree with my council colleague, but although he did raise a good point when he talks about residents who could be pumping into our system. But I'd have to say the percentage of what that may be compared to what rainwater is causing us over the years is quite different. But I think his percentage does count, and I hope we could look into that. But to say we haven't accomplished anything over 6 years, to say that it wasn't a good idea to have us run our utility, to me, it's just not a true statement. I think if you look at whether it was if you took two opportunities to see that the private entity being parallel with us, would be no different. I mean, and congratulations to the administration and you, Bob, you set up an entire company from ground up, equipment and trucks, staff, training, and let's not hide the fact that there were multiple meetings in here where we disagreed with passing funding for certain things, which delayed stuff. So our director just doesn't have a checkbook to fix things, and there's a process. I think compared to what happened over 25 years with American Water, nothing happened. They managed their water company and nothing happened. Over 6 administrations, nothing happened to our sewer. So when it comes to critical maintenance and assessment of pump stations, force mains, zero happened compared to what we're doing today. I understand we funded a CTV to all the town, which is probably almost done. So we're going to get an X-ray of all of our sewer to discover what should be replaced first in critical maintenance order. So I think we've come a long way. And I think, Councilman Brescher and I disagree at different times, but we get along on the way home. But he's dead wrong on this. We together pushed for this. I think if he's patient and we sit down together, and if he can just tell me what Suez would have done different. They sold their company to another company. We would have been working blindfolded. They would have chose to tear up what they choose to tear up when they tear it up. They would have had the opportunity to replace more than what was necessary rather than just replace a short sleeve. If you go to the water department, I invite anybody to take you down there, you'll see we have a full operation down there of trucks, men, equipment, parts. If there's something that happens today, we're prepared to replace that and make that repair. Councilman Pressure mentions that we're using consultants. So does Suez. They call on Fletcher Kramer, they call on everybody. They have emergency maintenance just like we do. I mean, we don't dig into a 30-foot hole to make a repair. But on surface and within 10 feet, I think we're doing a great job. And most important, we're keeping jobs in Edison. People being trained to be pipe fitters in Edison, which is a great career. I wish I jumped into it. If anybody's young in this room who has an interest in jumping into the pipe fitting and the local 9, this is a great career where you'll be wanted for the next 40 years and retire with a decent pension. So I'm proud of what we've accomplished, and it's just been a timeline of what's been effective and not. But we here, and at times held up the agenda because we didn't want to pass something at that time, and we had debates over what was critical maintenance, what was part of the administrative consent order, which is part of what the state orders us to fix first. And we also borrowed from the infrastructure bank, and that was a process, not just a process of what we were doing, but it was a process in question of the council of what we were doing and who was paying for that. So you can talk, it's great, but I think you certainly did the walk. Bob, a lot, and I'm proud of what we've accomplished, and I hope Rich and I can sit down together and work parallel to see what could have been accomplished differently if we were to farm it out. Today, I'm extremely happy. I hope this council is, and I think the mayor is on board and the administration, and I'm proud when I see your team on the street. I know they're looking out what's best for each resident.
They are.
Let alone, let's not forget what we did with water alone. We didn't touch a fire hydrant in 30 years. We flushed every fire hydrant today, and that was supposed to be done through American Water. Was not done. And I could be exaggerating 30 years, but I'd say minimum 20. So every fire hydrant's been flushed. Water's been streamed out and bled through the lines, and no different. The claim of fame was American Water was just selling us water, and they didn't do any critical maintenance or assessments or do any forecast or proactive maintenance. I think we've done a great job. I think, I tip my hat to you. I will argue that when I want to switch real quick, and I'll disagree, you're buying another truck. For 200, could you walk me through why you need a $212,000 truck?
That's for emergency repairs on the water system. Right now, we're taking multiple trailers out to jobs. We're taking up a lot of street space, multiple trailers. We're going to be able to have most of our equipment on this truck, repair clamps, everything we need, so we're not making such a big congestion on job sites. It's something that most utilities have that it comes in very handy. It's something we really could use. It'll help us reduce our footprint on the job site, and it's it'll be a big help to us.
I may disagree, but if my council colleagues vote together, I'll be supporting it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Toyle.
Anything else?
I just need clarity.
Councilman Brasher.
My council colleague said that we did the camera inspections on these pipes.
We're doing it. We're in the process of doing it. Yes.
Okay.
Councilman
In
Brasher?
phases.
In phases. So we have, let's say, 100 miles of pipe. What's the percentage that we've done so
We have a
far?
lot more than 100
Right,
miles
but
of
what's
pipe.
on a percentage?
We've done.
Councilman Brasher, if I could just make that easier for everyone to answer, under the bid specs that we've attached, it's in this map, phase 1 of what has been and what's pending. And I'd be glad to recirculate that because I know this is a lengthy bid package. So this is the important sheet that you want to refer to exactly. And there's the key there, and it'll tell you exactly how
But
many.
looking at it, what would you say
miles.
the percentage of that is? Is that 100%?
No.
It's 75%.
Maybe. Yeah.
75%. I
So
mean,
75% of
it
the
goes
town we've done.
right out to Highland Park, pretty close to New Brunswick over on the Raritan side, border Piscataway, South Plainfield.
That's done.
it's kind of everywhere, but it's about 75%, I would say.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Council President, we lost the
Councilman
quorum.
Patil?
We lost the quorum.
So at this moment, I'm going to ask for a 5-minute.
Yeah.
Just as courtesy, I believe it's called a point of privilege. If anyone needs to leave the dais, please just call it out, point of privilege. I'll absolutely acknowledge it, and just to avoid this situation happening going forward.
We can continue.
All right, thank you. We do have a quorum. I have no additional items unless you want to make any
I'd like
final.
to say that last big rainstorm we had no issues with the collection system. The pump stations were fine, we had no issues, so we're making progress. Slow but sure, we're making big progress.
Thank you, Mr. Smith.
Council President?
Councilman
Mr.
Patel.
Mr. Smith? I do wanted to follow up on what Councilman Brescher said as to how much, on your rough estimate, how many people do you think are linked into our
I can't give you that number. There's quite a few, though. There's developments that there's a lot of people hooked into it.
Okay, thank you. That was it.
Any other questions, comments, concerns? Thank you, Mr. Smith.
All right.
16, from the Chief of Fire, A, approval of volunteer firefighters, B, resolution accepting funds to purchase capture exhaust systems in all 7 fire stations, $188,407. C, resolution authorizes discharge of fireworks at the Plainfield Country Club. D, award of contract to various vendors for the furnishing of firefighter protective clothing and equipment, not to exceed $150,000. E, resolution awarding contracts for the furnishing of firefighting equipment and rescue tools, not to exceed $150,000. And F, resolution awarding contracts for the furnishing of office furniture and related products, not to exceed $560,000. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Seeing none. 17, from the Chief of Police. A, resolution authorizing Edison Police Department enrollment in the 1033 program for 2025. And B, resolution to accept state fiscal year 2025 Justice Assistant Grant, $45,738. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Seeing none. 18, from the Township Clerk. A, resolution authorizing refund to Special Olympics for raffle license. B, resolution authorizing local amusement game license. And C, resolution regarding the annual report of annual audit for the year ending December 31st, 2024. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Seeing none, we'll move on to the action items of the agenda. 19, approval of volunteer firefighters. This is just all in favor. Can I get a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second?
Motion by Councilman Patil, second by Councilman Patel. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Volunteer firefighters are accepted and approved. 20, approval of minutes. A and B. Can I get a motion to approve?
I'm abstaining.
You were absent on the 23rd.
Motion to approve?
So I will second it. Councilman Patil, you have to abstain on the 23rd.
Third.
And yes, I think I have to abstain for July, right?
Same meeting.
Yeah, I believe so. So abstention from that because you were not present. So motion by Councilman Patel, second by myself. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Approval of minutes passes. 21, unfinished businesses, ordinances for further consideration, public hearing, final adoption. Madam Clerk, please read ordinance 02251.
An ordinance authorizing a lease extension of the homeless facility agreement with Catholic Charities Diocese of Metuchen for a portion of the former Camp Kilmer property.
Thank you. At this time, I'd like to open up to the public for any comments, questions, or concerns on the ordinance 2251. Seeing none, can I get a motion to close the public portion?
Motion to close.
Second?
Motion by Councilman Coyle, second by Councilman Patel. All in favor? Aye. The public portion is closed. At this time, can I get a motion on the ordinance?
Motion. Council President, I move this ordinance be passed on first reading, public.
Councilman Coyle, sorry.
We're on second reading.
This is,
Motion down, okay.
so a motion of action, whether to approve, adopt, or other.
Okay, motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Coyle, second by Councilman Patel. Any comments from my colleagues? None. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilmember Brescher.
Yes.
Councilmember Coyle.
Yes.
Councilmember Patel.
Yes.
Councilmember Patil.
Yes.
Council President Pointer.
Yes. Ordinance 2252. Madam Clerk, please read ordinance.
An ordinance amending the Township Code to make Glencourt Avenue a one-way street west to east from Fowler Street to Woodbridge Avenue.
Thank you. At this time, I'd like to open up to the public for any questions, comments, or concerns on ordinance 2252. Seeing none, can I get a motion to close the public comment?
Motion to close.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Coyle, second by Councilman Patel. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Public portion is now closed. At this time, can I get a motion on the ordinance?
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Patil, second by Councilman Coyle. Any council comments? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilmember Brescher.
Yes.
Councilmember Coyle.
Yes.
Councilmember Patel.
Yes.
Councilmember Patil.
Yes.
Council President Pointer.
Yes. Now we'll move on to new business, proposed ordinances for a public hearing set down for Wednesday, September 10th, 2025. Madam Clerk, please read ordinance 2253.
Bond ordinance providing for the acquisition of vehicles, trucks, and equipment for the solid waste collection district in and by the Township of Edison, the County of Middlesex, New Jersey, appropriating $1,463,000, therefore and authorizing the issuance of $1,463,000 bonds or notes of the Township to finance part of.
Thank you. At this time, try to get a motion on the ordinance.
Motion.
Council.
This would be for the
Yeah, right here.
meeting.
Okay, thank you. Council President, I move this ordinance to be passed on first reading, published according to law for further consideration and public hearing set down for September 10th.
Second.
Thank you. So it's a motion by Councilman Coyle to introduce, second by Councilman Patel. Any council comments? Seeing none. Again, this ordinance, for myself, this ordinance is for the purchase of sanitation vehicles, which, if anyone is familiar with the current fleet, it does need some updates. So I'm in support of this ordinance. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilmember Brescher.
Yes.
Councilmember Coyle.
Yes.
Councilmember Patel.
Yes.
Councilmember Patil.
Yes.
Council President Pointer.
Yes. Madam Clerk, ordinance 2254.
Bond ordinance providing for various improvements to the water utility in and by the Township of Edison, appropriating $17,745,000, therefore authorizing the issuance of $17,745,000 bonds or notes for the Township finance thereof.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. At this time, can I get a motion on the ordinance?
Council President, I move this ordinance be passed on the first reading, published according to law for further consideration and public hearing set down for September 10th, 2025.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Coyle. So motion by Councilman Patel, second by Councilman Coyle. Any council comments? Seeing none. At this time, Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilmember Brescher.
Yes.
Councilmember Coyle.
Yes.
Councilmember Patel.
Yes.
Councilmember Patil.
Yes.
Council President Pointer.
Yes, to introduce. Madam Clerk, ordinance 2255, please read.
Bond ordinance providing for various improvements to the sewer utility and by the Township of Edison, appropriating $13,908,375, therefore authorizing the issuance of $13,908,375 bonds or notes for the town to finance part of.
Thank you. At this time, try to get a motion on the ordinance.
Council President,
Yes, Councilman
I
Patel.
move this ordinance be passed on first reading, published according to the law for further consideration and public hearing set down for September 10, 2025.
Thank you, Councilman Patel. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion introduced by Councilman Patel, second by Councilman Patel. Any council comments? Just for myself, in regards to both the water and the sewer ordinances, as many people are aware, in 2019, the township voted to keep both departments in-house. One of those items, though, is that we need to make sure that there's proper funding to be able to execute that desire by the township, by the residents. So that is why I will be supporting this ordinance. Thank you. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilmember Brusher.
Yes.
Councilmember Coyle.
Yes.
Councilmember Patel.
Yes.
Councilmember Patil.
Yes.
Council President Pointer.
Yes, to introduce. Madam Clerk, ordinance 2256.
Bond ordinance providing for various capital improvements in by the township appropriating $25,008,500, therefore authorizing the issuance of notes of $23,758,075 bonds or notes to finance part thereof.
Thank you. At this time, can I get a motion on the ordinance?
Council President,
Yes, Councilman Patil.
I move this ordinance be passed on first reading, published according to the law for further consideration and public hearing set down for September 10, 2025.
Thank you, Councilman Patil.
Second?
Second by Councilman Patel. So motion introduced by Councilman Patil, second by Councilman Patel. Any council comments? For myself, I know that there is concern in regards to the overall debt of the township. What I would like to say for myself in review of the budget and in regards to where we are in terms of our current debt obligations, the metrics of which we are at, I believe, are sustainable in short. The restructuring of the debt back in 2021, which I've always given credit to the Lanky administration and the council at that time, has afforded the township to be in good position to make these types of investments to make sure that the quality of life of its residents is maintained and improved. Thank you. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilmember Brusher.
Yes.
Councilmember Coyle.
Yes.
Councilmember Patel.
Yes.
Councilmember Patil.
Yes.
Council President Pointer.
Yes, to introduce. Madam Clerk, ordinance 2257. There's a lot of ordinances.
An ordinance amending Chapter 16 Fire Prevention and Protection, Section 16-1, Uniform Fire Safety Act, Local Enforcement Agency, subsection 16-1.5, permit fees, fire code status requests of the Township Code of the Township to amend the tent permits.
Thank you. Can I get a
Permit
motion?
fees.
Can I get a motion on the ordinance?
Council President,
Yes, Councilman Patel.
I move this ordinance be passed on first reading, published according to law for further consideration and public hearing set down for September 10, 2025.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
That's a motion introduced by Councilman Patel, second by Councilman Patil. Any council comments? For myself, I just hope people utilize the tents. It's nice out there. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilmember Brusher.
Yes.
Councilmember Coyle.
Yes.
Councilmember Patel.
Yes.
Councilmember Patil.
Yes.
Council President Pointer.
Yes. Madam Clerk, ordinance 2258.
Ordinance authorizing the acquisition of the property identified on the tax maps of the Township of Edison as Block 692.05, Lot 8.03, in connection with the Thomas Street redevelopment plan on a redevelopment agreement between Yasha J. Realty LLC, and upon acquisition, transfer the property to the redeveloper in furtherance of the Thomas Place redevelopment plan.
Thank you. At this time, can I get a motion on the ordinance?
Council President,
Yes, Councilman Patel.
I move this ordinance be passed on first reading, published according to law for further consideration and public hearing set down for September 10, 2025.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
That's a motion introduced by Councilman Patel, second by Councilman Patil. Any council comments? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilmember Brusher.
Yes.
Councilmember Coyle.
Yes.
Councilmember Patel.
Yes.
Councilmember Patil.
Yes.
Council President Pointer.
Yes, to introduce. Ordinance 2259. Madam Clerk, please read ordinance.
Ordinance appropriating $520,000 from a developer's contribution pursuant to the redevelopment agreement, which funds are on hand by the township for the acquisition of property in and by the Township of Edison.
Thank you. At this time, can I get a motion on the ordinance, on the proposed ordinance?
Council President,
Yes, Councilman Patel.
I move this ordinance be passed on first reading, published according to law for further consideration and public hearing set down for September 10, 2025.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
That's a motion to introduce by Councilman Patel, seconded by Councilman Patil. Any councilor comments? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilmember Brescher.
Yes.
Councilmember Coyle.
Yes.
Councilmember Patel.
Yes.
Councilmember Patil.
Yes.
Council President Pointer.
Yes, to introduce. Thank you. At this time, we're going to move to 23, public comment on the resolutions only. So at this time, I'd like to open it up in regards to the resolutions. I do want to make note, though, that the ordinances are technically not resolutions, so this would not be the appropriate time to discuss the ordinances that were just introduced. However, at the public comment time at the end, in regards to any topic you wish to discuss, you would be afforded the opportunity to speak on those then. Thank you. Sir?
Okay, anonymous. I don't give my name or my address when I come to meetings. On every single resolution that has the word performance in it, cash perform, there's a bunch of them in here that has the word performance. And I would like to remind this council and everyone in this room that this council banned costumes, masks, props,
Point of
and
order.
performances.
Point of order.
So all of these performances
order.
wouldn't apply. When you guys banned the American flag, look
of
it up
order.
online. They banned the American flag at the meeting. Look it up.
Thank you. Anyone else that would like to speak on the resolutions only? Yes.
Beth Talke, 15 Midwood Avenue. I have a question on, I guess it's resolution or whatever, 15 here from the Department of Water and Sewer, the resolution authorizing the contract purchase order and the one after that resolution, it's 15A and B. I have a question. Is that going to be paid by all taxpayers or only by the Edison Water Company customers? You know, is that coming out of the full budget for all taxpayers or just the Edison Water customers that it affects? Because me being a Middlesex Water customer, I'm paying for all, you know, the upgrades and changes and stuff through my bill, which has gone up extraordinary in the last 2 years. Well, I see Edison Water customers, friends of mine, theirs has been staying pretty steady. So I just want to know on that stuff, if that's coming out of all the taxpayers or just the Edison Water customers. Thank you.
Sure. I'll direct it.
We just need all of our questions.
Yeah. Just in the sake of time, do you have any other questions that you would like?
Well, that's just on that. I can come up later for the
For the general,
ordinances,
yes.
correctly, yes.
Ken,
that's
would you
just on
mind
that
giving
one,
an
thank you.
overview as to how those funds are appropriated and where they come from?
Yes, the appropriations for the water utility are paid for by water utility customers and do not come out of general taxpayer funds.
So that would be in regards to the purchase of the vehicle, and then the sewer is the entire township because sewer is throughout.
That's correct.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other comments on, yes?
Resolution 492-082025, the resolution authorizing contract purchase order for the installation of new concrete flooring at the municipal complex, not to exceed $143,000. Is this the flooring coming into the building that we're talking about, where all the cracks are, and I worry about falling every time I come here? Or is there more involved that would bring it up to $143,000, is my question.
Just in the sake of time making sure, are there any other questions you would like for us to address?
Not for a resolution.
My understanding is that this would be a complete tear down and redo of the concrete that's in front of the front vestibule there, up to the sidewalk, over to the stairs that are on the left-hand side, because we're directly over it, and the entranceway into the 911 area on the right-hand side. So it would be that entire area there.
And it's up to $143,000?
No, that's the contract amount. It's $143,000.
Wow. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
Joy Ship Freeman.
Thank you.
I just want to ask, I'm still asking about change orders. So I'm just like, how do we come about every single time we turn around with a change order that we never seem to get a project manager for anything or whatever?
Is there a
I'm
specific
asking-
change
We need
order?
a specific resolution that you're referring to.
Well, I think the president's supposed to say that to me, correct?
Are there any specific
think-
Either way, it's correct.
Excuse me, sir, but I think the president's supposed to be in charge. That's why he's the president of the council. Okay. 491.
Thank you.
So there were, my understanding, the backup said that there were several additional accidents that occurred that knocked down traffic lights, and there were expenditures above the previous threshold, so that this is to pay for those accidents that had happened. And then in regards, oh,
No, I thank you because you explained it to me, the amount of accidents, because even when I looked at Middlesex County, we have the most accidents, I think, in the state. And in this area is something, whatever, maybe we need more people out, traffic cops. Maybe we need more out at different spots because it's ridiculous, because I'm like scared when I go past the stoplight because the light turns red and people still keep going at the whole time. It's very, very nervous living here in Edison when it comes to traffic. And I hope we can do a better deal with the change order and stuff that, that's needed. Thank you for having class, John.
thank you. Any other comments on the resolutions only? Seeing none, can I get a motion to close the public comment?
Motion to close.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Patel, second by Councilman Patel. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Public comment on the resolutions is now closed. At this time, I'd like to ask my colleagues if there's any resolutions to pull aside for a separate vote. Starting from my right, Councilman Brusher.
None.
Councilman Coyle?
None, sir.
Councilman Patel?
None.
Councilman Patil?
None.
And none for myself. So the consent agenda will be resolutions 422 through page 4, resolution 509. So resolutions 422 through 509 to the consent agenda. Can I get a motion on the consent agenda?
Motion to approve consent agenda.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Patil, second by Councilman Patel. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilmember Brusher.
Yes.
Councilmember Coyle.
Yes.
Councilmember Patel.
Yes.
Councilmember Patil.
Yes.
Council President Poyer.
Yes. Vice President. Vice President. I know. All right. Thank you. Next, we'll move to communications. A letter received from the Open Space Advisory Committee regarding Potts Road. I believe Councilman Patel, you had wanted to make comment on this?
I wanted to follow up. What did we do about in regards to the violations that the dealership is doing on the open land, the open space? That is why we tabled it for this today, to follow up on this.
Sorry, I apologize. Our zoning officer has been taking a look at those, and I'll have an update for you by the end of this week.
Okay. Can I get a motion to table it for the following meeting to see what's going on, so we can follow up on this? Actually, I motion to table. May I have a second?
What are we tabling?
Table the communication.
Table.
Will not add that
Yeah,
on the.
I'm sorry, Councilman. I think you can add it to the next meeting, but I don't think, there's nothing to table.
Okay.
Yeah.
Could I
If you
make
want to add
a,
it to the next agenda, we
Yeah,
can do that.
can we do that?
Yeah, certainly.
yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Add to next agenda again? Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
But we still do have to act on the communication.
So do we have to accept it, or do
Just
we?
accept it? Usually it's really just like, to
Yeah.
accept, we should have accepted at the last meeting, but.
Yeah, I mean, we can accept it.
I would
but-
offer just to accept it.
Accept
Make sure that is a discussion item for Councilman Patel.
That makes a lot of sense.
For the next meeting. And is that a okay compromise? I appreciate it. At this time, can I get a motion to accept the communication?
I motion to accept.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Patel, second by Councilman Patil. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Seeing none, the communication is accepted. At this time, I'd like to open up for oral petitions and remarks. I want to briefly go over the general guidelines because a lot of people came in late. We have a 4-minute public speaking time. We do not have rebuttals. What I will ask is I will try to be fair and go on left and right since there is a good amount of people that are here today. I just ask for general courtesy in regards to when speaking. I will ask for your name and address. You are not absolutely required to provide. However, from a record purpose standpoint, it is helpful for us to document as such. And again, I just ask for general courtesy in terms of the discussion. We don't have a list anymore, right? No. Yeah. Bad habit.
Okay.
Sorry. Sir. Oh, one additional ask, just for timing purposes, let me just recognize, that you're afforded the floor. So you have the floor. Thank you.
Okay, I love that you told them that was optional. I haven't heard that here in Edison. I appreciate that. And I will say, John, you actually run a pretty good meeting. So Dave, let him run the meeting. Stop. You're out of order when you do that. Let him run the meeting. I mean, Jesus Christ. But I'll go forward with what I was trying to say when you cut me off. Everybody in this room needs to know that this council banned the American flag. They banned the American flag at a meeting. If you came up to this meeting and held anything, really, if I held that roll of tape, you couldn't do it. A New Jersey lawyer came into this room waving an American flag, and they had him removed by police. This town council here in Edison banned the American flag. Another gentleman came up with a pocket constitution. They were going to remove him by police. The only reason why they didn't was because he ran out of time. This council banned costumes, masks, props, and performances. Performances, I tell you. What is he doing as the council president? He's performing. What is Dave doing as the lawyer? He's performing. That's the point I was trying to make. Every word in those resolutions that had performance technically wouldn't be allowed because you banned performances. That's what you did. And in the process of when you guys did this, you took the public speaking time and you went down to 4 minutes, stealing 2 minutes from everybody. And then this meeting is now a combined meeting, stealing more time away from the public. You just take. As I tried to explain to everybody that when we walk into this meeting and you're going through this security checkpoint to come to a meeting, they are violating your Fourth Amendment right. I was surprised that when I mentioned it to a few people, nobody seemed to care enough about their own rights. You were surrendering your Fourth Amendment right to come into this meeting. I mean, does anybody care about their own rights? I find that interesting. I was going to tell every single person who came in here, but after 15 people, they just blew me off. And I love that this room is packed. I love it. That makes me feel like an American to see this room packed. That's what it should be. All of these meetings should have people coming out and speaking up. Speaking up against a government, a system that breeds power and greed and ignorance. Complete ignorance. And for the record, so everybody in this room knows who banned, it was not Richard Brescher. From day one, he stuck up for constitutional rights. It was Joe Coyle. It was John Poyner. It was Nish Patel. And guy on the right that ain't even here, not A.J. Patil. A.J. Patil wouldn't do that. Richard Brescher wouldn't do that. Could you imagine what it's like for these two gentlemen on the end to sit on a council with such ignorance, such buffoonery? These people banned the American flag. They had a man removed, a lawyer, removed from the meeting for waving the flag in the United States of America. That's what happened. And Nish Patel will never hold political office again for his mistake, and neither will John Poyner. Biggest career-ending mistakes ever. If you want to fix the situation, put the public speaking back time back to 6 minutes. Oh, and remember, we had Charlie from New Brunswick today who caught it on camera. That's the only way it went national, because you guys removed the public footage access to stop showing people at the podium. Shame.
Thank you. The speaker's time has elapsed. Gentleman in the back.
Evening. My name is Robin Gowan. I live on Outcult Road in Edison.
Thank you.
I've been a resident of Edison for 38 years. I like Edison, enjoy living here. I'm speaking tonight. I'm disappointed with what happened recently, excuse me, at a warehouse in Edison, where the mayor apparently allowed ICE to come in and take away people that were there. My understanding is that the mayor was aware of this and either was unwilling or unable, excuse me, to do anything about it, to alert the people that were in jeopardy of losing whatever they were losing. ICE is in certain towns in New Jersey, like Princeton and Trenton, have been able to do better. So I'm encouraging Edison to do better. We can, if this happens again, we should inform the people ahead of time. If the mayor knows, either he was unwilling or unable to do anything about it. And I find that disappointing. I don't know if he's made a public statement regarding ICE and the federal government. It's possible that he has. I'm not aware of that. But I just wanted to say I'm disappointed with the mayor, and I hope that he does better the next time. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to try to go left and right just for fairness.
Thank you, Marlene. Elizabeth Conway, 20 Netherwood Circle.
Thank you.
I usually get up here and just talk and make you listen to me. But I was upset this morning, so I actually wrote something down. And I'm going to read it because I want to make sure that I get it done in my 4 minutes. And if I have any time left, then you'll have to listen to me talk after that. So, good evening. My name is Elizabeth Conway, and I live at 20 Netherwood Circle, Edison, New Jersey, 08820. I came here tonight because I'm deeply concerned about what this council is about to do on September 10th. You're voting on an ordinance to add $57 million in new bonds on top of a debt load that already increased by more than 50% since 2021. If all of these bonds pass, Edison will be carrying a level of debt that is completely unsustainable. Just this morning, I was thinking about my former students who are now adults, and I thought about their future. Will they be able to live in Edison? How could they when this much debt is being piled up and will eventually land on the shoulders of the residents? We act like the money never has to be paid back, but it will. Either it shows us in higher taxes, or it shows up at cuts to services. We all rely on good services and lower taxes. But there's no way around it. And what's most frustrating is that we've been here before. We've taken on more debt, and yet the same problems keep coming back. For example, tonight there's talk of putting $17 million toward water utility improvements and $13.9 million toward sewer upgrades. Now, that doesn't affect the whole town, but it does affect Edison residents. But these are issues Edison residents have been facing for years. If we've already borrowed so much in the past, where did that money go? Why are we still in the same place? We have a budget of $175 million. That's a staggering number, and yet it feels like the town takes care of what it wants before it takes care of what it needs. That's not fiscal responsibility. That's mismanagement. I feel like Edison is losing its balance. We're putting up big developments in areas that don't have nearby grocery stores, Stop and Shop, don't have public transportation, and aren't suited for that kind of density. We're taking the garden out of the Garden State, and in the process, changing the very character of this town. So my question is simple. Where did all the money go? We've added tens of millions in debt over the past few years, but we're still facing the same old problems with water, sewer, and infrastructure. Now you're asking residents to take on $57 million more over our budget. Why should we believe this time will be any different? Edison residents deserve straight answers, and we deserve real fiscal responsibility. This isn't just about the numbers on a page. It's about whether our children, my students, my grandchildren, will even be able to afford to live here in the future. Right now, the way things are going, I'm not sure if they're going to be able to. And that's a shame. Thank you.
Thank you. I actually want to call out some items that were just mentioned. It was talked about 17-14. I'd just like to ask how much was previously invested prior to that. Previous ordinances, last year we canceled a lot of bond ordinances that were out of date. And in regards to percentage of current debt versus the township ratables, is actually near what it was back in 2016, 2017 and such prior to the restructure. Thank you. Ma'am?
Hi, my name is Ellen Witt.
Thank you, you're recognized.
I live in Highland Park, but until a few years ago when I retired, I was a teacher and librarian in the Edison Township Public Schools. In that role, I knew that many immigrant students, including undocumented students and their families, they were from a variety of countries, not only from Latin America, but also from Asian countries. Some were families who were undocumented because they had simply overstayed visas, and we have many families like that. Currently, I work with Dyer Legal Services and coordinate the Dyer Hotline, which supports those facing immigration problems and detention. Last week, we received a number of calls on our hotline notifying us that ICE and Customs and Border Patrol were at an Edison warehouse. I and others immediately went to the warehouse to document what was happening and to support workers and families who were there. I faced many masked immigration agents and saw dozens of vehicles taking workers away. I talked to one worker who was injured during the raid. Many families and co-workers were there, angry and distraught about the cruelty of ICE. Since then, I have personally talked to family members of 14 of the workers who were detained. A number of families had multiple family members taken, including a husband and a wife of the same family. These are members of our community who go to work every day, take care of their kids, and provide services for the rest of us. Each day, every one of us trusts undocumented immigrant workers to harvest our food, take care of our homes and kids, cook in our restaurants, and as in the case of these workers, prepare goods that we will get from Amazon. These workers deserve to be treated with dignity, not as outcasts. So while I was outraged but not entirely surprised by ICE trying to up their statistics by conducting a workplace raid, I was stunned to learn that the mayor of Edison was fully informed of the planned raid in advance and did nothing. In fact, since the raid, I don't believe there's been a peep from the mayor or even from this council that I'm aware of condemning this attack not only on workers, but also on their families, the businesses, the local economy, and on the entire community of Edison, much less the surrounding communities who work and shop in Edison. I believe this council needs to take the immediate step of condemning the raid, expressing some real solidarity with workers and families affected. You need to do the decent thing and defend your community and separate yourselves from the false narrative of the Trump administration, which uses undocumented immigrants as a scapegoat for every social problem, a conscious method to distract us from focusing on those who actually do hold power and control over the economic system, housing, and health care. And New Jersey needs you to publicly support the Immigrant Trust Act in the New Jersey legislature, which will prevent local police and government agencies from becoming arms of ICE. Everyone needs to know that police, hospitals, schools, and other agencies are doing their jobs and not collaborating with ICE's violations of human rights. It is in everyone's interest for you to stand up and immediately support the Immigrant Trust Act. I would like to know if any council member who is here will say that they condemn the warehouse raids.
Excuse me, ma'am. I'm sorry, your time is up. Comments, sir.
So I'm finished, but since you gave a rebuttal to the last one, I thought maybe you'd give a rebuttal to mine and say whether you'll condemn these raids.
I will,
Any of you.
if any of my colleagues would like to make a comment, I will allow them to.
Council President. Council President, I condemn the raids, and I condemn the raids. The raids because this country is built on immigrants. We are all immigrants, whether you like it or not. An attack on one of us is an attack on all of us. So let's do stand united, and I will support the Immigration Trust Act as much as I can. Thank you.
Other comments? Anyone? Gloria?
Gloria Dittman, Midland Road, Edison.
Recognize.
I agree with everything Elizabeth Conway said. I would like to add another group, and that is the group of senior citizens. Most of us are on fixed incomes, and it is getting more difficult to live in Edison. I would also like to focus on other issues. One is, does James Street belong to us, or is that a county road? Because it needs to be paved immediately. I worry about the overrun that's at the Jets field. I'm concerned about the artificial turf, although it looks beautiful. When a child or a young adult falls on turf, artificial turf, it's a worse injury than if it was on our good earth. I wish people would reconsider that fake turf stuff. I also would like to suggest that any fireman, police officer in the future who is hired, that Edison residents be given real consideration. If we hire more Edison residents, I think they have a vested interest in our community. They won't get lost trying to find our many streets. Edison is 32 square miles. That's a lot of miles. We have 108,000 people. I think it would make such a big difference, both to the citizens and to our police officers, whom I love, if they were Edison residents. And my last comment is about Channel 15. As many of you know, I was formerly the president of the Edison Art Society. When Mayor Lanke was here, any program that we put on, any program wherever it was, whether it be in Papiani Park or here in the building, we could have it filmed. When I put on a program September, in case you don't know, is Suicide Prevention Awareness Month. I put on a program there at the JCC, and I wanted to have it filmed, not because I'm in it, but because if we could give one person a little bit of information to prevent someone from taking their lives, it's worth $1 million. We were denied that last year, and I didn't even bother asking this year because I knew I would get another denial. So I really think, since Channel 15 is public TV, that camera ought to be everywhere in Edison, not just where the mayor is. Thank you very much.
Sir, come on. Just to comment on a couple of the items that were brought up. Senior citizens on fixed income, if we can have a link on the website that just makes a pronounce of how to go apply for senior freeze, I think that would be helpful. Channel 15, just for general knowledge, on Comcast, I believe it's been updated, and I think it's channel 1300. The township has no control over that allocation of TV number, like where the channel actually is. James Street, I believe it is township property, but I will confirm with the administration on that one. And then fire personnel, you mentioned about Edison residents. I believe our hiring process puts priority in regards to those that have volunteered for the fire department, and many of those volunteers are Edison-based. So I think by that natural process, it kind of assists with that, but I understand what the comment was. Thank you. Yes.
Joyce Ship Freeman, Edison, New Jersey.
Thank you. You're recognized.
Just to state for the people to knowledge the amount of money, I think Mayor Resigliano never spent a dime. Mayor Lanke was an accountant, so he did not leave a debt to Mayor Josie. He did not leave that debt to him. What I need is, I need to know the amount of money FEMA gave us, the amount of money that COVID gave us. I need to know the true amount of the bonds that we have put ourselves in debt for. And I know another thing, that the Stelton building, is there a project manager for that? Because I sat on the board with the Edison school system, and we rejected taking a Stelton building because it would cost too much money to rehab. It would be better building something else. So I don't know how this miracle thing, how it's happening now. And then another thing I find quite disturbing, we may have a lot of people here, but most of the time, we're lucky if we have 10 people at the meeting. And there's no rebuttal or anything, and you took away the 6 minutes. I go to the Board of Ed meeting, you get 6 minutes and you get a rebuttal, and the people sit there, you know, and they talk hours through the night, and they sit there, and they're very, very respectful. You come here, everybody's talking like, yang, 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 up in the front, like hours on end. Then you give somebody a real, oh, you got all these items, but you better hurry up and get through them in 4 minutes. What? You can't even read that fast. That's very disrespectful and very rude to people who pay your salary, okay? And I that's one part that bugs me the most, how you can be that disrespectful to, especially, because most of the time, you know, it's senior citizens that will be sitting here in the evening waiting for our turn to speak. I think that's horrible how that goes. And I just wanted to make sure that we actually have somebody in charge so we don't keep running into these change orders. I understand from the one from tonight that Council Vice President John said, because I understand with accidents and stuff, those are not predictable. But when you're building something like the Jets building and you're doing Stelton and you're doing all these special projects all the time and spending money like crazy, you know, that's how it goes. Now, this is what I find really odd. Everybody's so in favor of affordable housing. Then why do we waste all that money going to court? We got lawyer friends that we just want to give money to? Because if everybody's talking about they so happy with that, hello, why are we fighting that thing? All right? And I just would like to know about the water situation here in Edison. All we do is build new toys all the time. Pickleball. I'm a tennis girl, but pickleball. Now, we didn't even care. The administration didn't even care about the water until they had that main break that was on every station from the Ben Franklin. Everybody kept putting it on the back burner. Oh, you got a new swing set. Oh, you got another pickleball court. You know, I guarantee you Edison has more pickleball courts than any city in New Jersey. Okay? At all. That's what's done. Okay? But the youth of this town is still waiting on the Jets building. But hey, they should have played pickleball. They would have did better. Thank you.
Just to answer one of the questions, is there a specified project manager for the Stelton Community Center project?
Council Vice President, yes, Colliers.
Colliers, thank you. I don't have an answer to the FEMA and COVID numbers off the top of my head. I'll try to get those for you. And the water situation, that could go on for a very long time, so I'll move on if that's okay. Thank you. We don't have rebuttal. Oh, sorry. Yes, ma'am. That was on the resolution. Sorry.
Beth Talke, 15 Midwood Avenue.
Thank you. You're right.
Just some clarification. I'm talking about the ordinances on the water company. So what is it, 54 and 55? I believe Councilman Brescher asked something before and said, yes, it would only be the Edison Water Company residents who would be footing the bill for these bonds. But I want to know exactly what type of bonds are they? Are they general obligation bonds, which means the whole town, every resident is liable for it? Or are they special assessment or revenue bonds in that only the people who are customers of the Edison Water Company are paying for it? And how, as a taxpayer, do I know that? Because it just says bond, 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 so you're telling me it's a bond, but what type of bond is it, so that I know as a Middlesex Water customer, who's, I said earlier, paying through the nose, am not having to pay for the Edison Water customers? That's what I'd like to know, if you can tell us specifically what kind of bond it is and why the specific wording isn't put into these. It just says bond, bond, bond. You know, we don't know.
Absolutely. Are there any other questions or comments before I go? I don't want to take up your time.
No, that's it on that one.
Ken, would you be able to elaborate on those items?
Yes. The bonds that are being discussed for both the water utility and the sewer utility are not general improvement bonds. They are not paid or backed by ad valorem taxes. The water utility bonds are an obligation of the water utility, which is a separate legal entity within the township. Same with the sewer utility. And those bonds are paid for by revenues from the water rates or the sewer rates.
So in short, it's by the users of those utilities.
Correct.
Thank you. Ma'am in the back? Oh, I'm sorry. I was sorry.
Council Vice President, if I could just add, and
Absolutely.
The resident asked about how is that displayed, and that would be displayed in the budget. It's a line item in the budget, so any capital improvement authorization, we're required to put it in the budget, and it's reflective there in a line item.
And additionally, I think what gets confused is that we have the overview description in the agenda, but as part of the backup with the agenda, there's the actual written language, and a lot of times it has that additional information there. But that wouldn't be in your 5-pager that you see. I apologize. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I am here tonight to.
Before you start, if you can pause, I asked name and address. You're not required to, but I do ask.
Sure. My name is Javier Robles. I am a proud Edison, well, I was a proud Edison resident until recently, for 29 years.
You're recognized. Thank you.
And I am also the president of the New Jersey Latino Action Network, which is one of the largest organizations in New Jersey on Latino issues, one of them being immigration. So I'm here today to really speak out against what's been happening in Edison, from what we've read. And it's not the first time that we've had issues with the mayor, Sam Yoshi, in regards to immigration. We're not sure if he's been assisting ICE or just not telling people that there's going to be raids in the township of Edison. Unlike the initial promise by our current president that he was going to go after gang members, that he was going to go after people who were committing violent crimes, what's happening in Edison and throughout the U.S. is that this administration and ICE is going after hardworking people, many of them who work here in Edison, many of them who work in your warehouses and who pay taxes here, many of them who have been hard workers, who've been supporting their families here in New Jersey and Edison for a long time. And, I applaud Councilman Patel for standing up and really saying what he believes. And I think anyone else who doesn't, stand up is complicit with the mayor in what's going on in Edison and should be called out. I think a great quote by Mark Twain is that patriotism is supporting your country all of the time and supporting government when it deserves it. And I think that quote really signifies what's going on in Edison and a lot of other municipalities in New Jersey and nationally. I am really worried as a president of an organization that works on these issues, pretty often with the Democratic Party, that the party itself sometimes is complicit or doesn't speak up about these issues, and that's a problem. Either we support our country all of the time and support policies that affect our people, the right way some of the times, or we don't. And I think it's scary what's happening. And I hope that this council does take a stand, and I hope that they actually put something in writing, and I hope that you pressure the mayor of this town to let people know, hey, there's going to be an ICE raid, and you who have been supporting your family, your kids, and everyone else for this time, you probably shouldn't go to work that day. What harm can come of that? So I think it's time. So thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
Were you going to say something?
You still have 48 seconds if you would like to.
I'm sorry, Jen?
You do have 48 seconds if you want to.
Oh.
I don't know if there was anything else you'd like to speak on.
No, I think that's fine. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Just noting, Councilman Coyle stepped out, so asking my colleagues to please not leave until Councilman Coyle gets back. Thank you. Gentleman in the back, yes. Yeah. John, yeah. I don't know everyone's name. I try not to.
It's all right. I don't mind. Thanks,
Yeah.
All right. My name is John Shu, 219 West Shirley Avenue, Edison, New Jersey.
Thank you. You're recognized.
So I want to talk about the perception that our country is moving more to a conservative position because of last November's election. And I do want to warn the public that I do not believe that is happening. One reason from last November, that the Democrats lost was based on a YouGov poll was because of Palestine. So that was the top reason that people in swing states did not vote for Kamala Harris last November. And I also want to talk about the polling for President Trump and his handling of immigration. Right now, he's underwater, and there's more people disapproving of Trump's handling of immigration as well. And one reason I think that's happening is because of these raids with the Border Patrol and with ICE. And I was there this past Wednesday at the warehouse, and I saw something that I'll never forget, the young girl crying because of her parents being separated from her parents, fear of losing her parents, fear of not knowing what's going to happen with her family, whether the family will be split up or not. And these are not, not criminals. These are workers in our community. And I understand there's a perception of a fear of immigration, fear of undocumented people. And I think we need to have an open discussion about that because they are productive members of our society. They pay taxes. They just want to have better lives for their family. A lot of people say they should do it the right way, but it is very difficult to do it the right way. And a lot of the employers, they're not being punished for it. So there's a systematic issue with this. We do need a guest worker program. We do need more folks handling the process, the green cards, pushing people through the immigration process. But we know what's happening right now. There's people with green cards, people here legally, they're getting taken as well. So what's happening right now with the federal government, we cannot abide by that. There's other issues I want to talk about. There's this may seem unrelated, but it really is related. Right now, the U.S. is threatening Venezuela with warships, and this past couple years, immigration from Venezuela was the top number of immigration because of the U.S. trying to destabilize Venezuela, and Venezuela has the largest oil reserves in the world. So that's another issue that I need to bring up. Last thing, there's a state bill. It's called the Immigrant Trust Act. We have our senator, our state senator, Pat Dagnan, and our assembly people, Karabinchak and Stanley. They are all co-sponsors of this bill. This bill calls on local government to local law agencies to not cooperate with the federal agencies, because I do believe that's important. I believe the federal agencies are not protecting the rights of people that they are rounding up, and we already have the support locally in our state legislature to oppose, to not coordinate with the federal government, and that's important as well. And I would like our local government here to take on that position as well.
Thank you. Your time's elaborated. Just as a general information, because I looked it up, the New Jersey Immigrant Trust Act is S3672. I believe that is the House, and then A49A7, I believe that is the Assembly. Gentleman with the mask on over there? I have to step aside, so I'm going to ask Councilman Patil to run the meeting for a minute.
Good evening, council persons. Can everyone hear me? Perfect. Okay. Apologize about the mask. I have a cough, and it's the only mask I had, so please don't mind my appearance. My name is Hector Yupanqui. I shall not disclose my address, but I can say I live in South Edison, was raised in South Edison my entire life, and as some of my colleagues have mentioned earlier this evening, there have been 2 major raids within this town, not to mention this town, but 5 minutes away from where I live. I live in an area that is very much sandwiched between these warehouses, between this industrial area in Edison, that I would say is not only the backbone of this town, but the backbone or part of the background of this entire state. I had the pleasure, or dare I say the displeasure, of seeing the events unfolding as they did last Wednesday, when over 50 people, at the very least, were taken from their workplace by ICE. And of course, our beloved Sameep Joshi knew about it. He knew about the raid the entire time. And of course, he didn't alert us, the residents. He didn't alert the warehouse of the workers. It just happened. And again, it's not the first time this has happened. July 8th, there was that raid at the Alba Wine Warehouse. And that was also not too far from that side as well, not too far from where I live as well. In case if you can't tell by my name, my family's not from here. They also, had to come here. They too were displaced, as my colleague was talking about before, by all the stuff that this country does across the world. And, they're working people just as the same as a lot of the other people in this room. I don't know if I can say that as much about you all, but we all have a job to do, I'm sure you can at least try to sympathize and to connect with that. But my thing here is the following. I know I'm speaking to you, but I know I'm not just speaking to you. I'm speaking to the entire audience here. I'm speaking to the Township of Edison. Dare I say, I'm speaking to the entirety of New Jersey. So listen close when I say this. You can say all you want that you condemn the raids, even though it was just one council person, Mr. Patel, thank you. You can say that you condemn the raids, but what are you actually going to do to ensure that this does not happen again? Can you give us a tangible action item? Can you give us some sort of follow-up, some sort of recourse that we can take, not just as residents of Edison, not just as working people, not just as immigrants and as the children of immigrants, but as the entire people of New Jersey? What will you do for us? How do we know that you aren't going to go back, just like your mayor, who's not even here tonight, and just let this happen again and again? This is the second time. This is the second raid. And of course, you keep on topping yourselves. ICE keeps on topping themselves. This was the biggest raid in New Jersey, dare I say probably in the East Coast. You need to look in, have a deep inner examination and really consider, because if not, we're going to be back. And it's not just going to be us. It's going to be the entire town, the entirety of the state, and the entirety of the working and immigrant peoples who you don't seem to have a solution for. So unless, if you can provide that, then I think my job here is done. And I, at the very least, am doing a job. Thank you.
Councilman?
So as I was the only one then to condemn it, I think what I can say is that our hands as a council people is limited. Beside, just like you, we have our voice, we can speak to it, we can motion to support the Immigration Trust Act, which I would like to do before the end of the day. I understand it's very frustrating. I understand that we don't want this in our community. But unfortunately, it is happening, and it will happen. I will not say it will never happen again, because this is powers beyond our local township. This is coming from a federal level. What we can do is stand united, like you are doing today, so I applaud you. What we can do is work together to stop this. If there are apps that we can download and we can pass the message, there is things we can individually do, but unfortunately, in terms of saying, hey, we will take an action that will stop this from happening in the future, I'm sorry, we don't have the power. We do not. But I would like to motion for the council to support the Immigration Trust Act, and if I can, someone please second that.
I'll second that.
You got a second? Good.
I would like to open it to any councilor comments.
Yes,
Just
yes.
general thing.
Just, right, in general, I do understand why everyone's here. I know that it probably looks like I've been here for 400 years in my family, but that's not true. I think our assemblyman, I think he's a first generation here. But we've gotten to a point in this country where the left does not want to listen and be reasonable, and the right doesn't want to listen or be reasonable. So what happens is when the left is in charge, they tell the right, pound salt. And the repercussions, unfortunately, is exactly what we're seeing here. Because America was founded on hardworking people. That's what every one of us here are. My great-grandparents, well, actually, my great-grandparents weren't here, but my grandparents and my parents, they came here, and they came here for a dream. So there is a legal process to come here. My daughter-in-law came here legally, became a citizen, right? That's what the dream is. I have friends that have become citizens that have been here. And it's a great thing when you see that, because those people seem to love this country more than the people that were born here, okay? They really do. But I hear what you're saying. I don't agree with arresting people that are hardworking people and they're trying to make a life for themselves. Do I believe that gangbangers and people bring fentanyl in this country? Yeah, you know what? Yeah. No, listen to me. I'm going to tell you. That's what this is about, though. You see, now, like I said,
Order. The councilman has the floor.
You're going to have
please.
to listen to me, and then you're going to be able to get up to speak. The other people are going to be able to get up to speak. When you say that this is not what it's about, this is the right side, right? The right side now is doing this because the left side didn't listen before about those other things. So they're doing it under this premise. That's what they're saying. Are they doing that? No. They went into a warehouse where people were working and they arrested them. Okay? So yes, you're right. You're 100% right. They're not doing it. This is a showboat thing because he's playing on emotions. Okay? The emotions are the same people that elected him and put him there. So do we agree that they should go into warehouses or come into Edison? No. And guess what authority we have? Nobody in this room, I'll bet you there's nobody here today that knows what a council does or what a mayor does. A council. Our only job is we're a legislative body. We can pass laws and we can approve funding. That's what we get to do. We don't get to control the federal government. I can't have the police officers do anything. I can't direct them to do a thing. They're the police officers. They're in the town. I'm a councilman. That's strictly the mayor of the township, okay? But even at our township level, I don't know, when people came up and they said our mayor knew, I don't know that our mayor knew. I didn't know. I found out by the news is how I found out. So I'm an elected official in the town, and I found out by the news. So many of you might have known about it before I even knew. The federal government, I don't believe, communicates with our mayor or our police department. And that could be that our mayor is a Democrat, right? And Donald Trump is a Republican. So it could be that left-right thing where they don't talk to each other, right? And that's a communication problem where I go back and I say that people have to talk to each other. If you don't talk to each other, we're just going to have to wait 3.5 more years until we can get a different president. I mean, that's the fact of the matter. We can pass this legislation, this thing here. I have no problem with doing it. John Shue came up, I believe, with Charlie at one time about power plants, right? We condemned the power plant, but we had no authority whether that power plant was open or not. So while we did it, it was a superficial gesture. It was just a gesture of solidarity is what it is. And that's what we're kind of looking at here. We don't have any authority over this, okay? Your local municipal government doesn't have it. And like I said, I don't believe that the federal government, Donald Trump, called up our mayor and said that they were going to go. And anybody here that lives in the town knows that I am not the biggest advocate for our mayor, right? So it's not like I'm covering for him, okay? But I don't believe that he knew. I really don't. I'm just about what's really true and what's happening there. So yes, I'm against them coming in and arresting people. I don't know those people did anything wrong. I don't even know that they were immigrants that they arrested. They just took people out of a warehouse. Nobody showed anybody any ID or anything. So that's all that I'm going to say about that. I'm going to let the public speak for the rest of the time. I'm not going to comment on what more you're going to say, but if Nish would like to put that up, I'm 100% for that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Brescher. Any other comments? For myself, look, in regards to the raids, like, notice, we just need to do what's right for the people around us and for our community, right? As Councilman Brescher said, we need to communicate. So first and foremost is communication. If you've done nothing wrong, like, you should not be subject to harsh actions against you. In regards to the item that's before us for consideration, anyone that's been here most of the time knows that I do not vote on stuff that I do not know. I have not read the legislation. I could 100% agree with it, so I will be abstaining from it on the principle of I have not read it, I have not seen it, I have not made that ultimate conclusion through that evaluation process. So out of respect for everyone that's here, I just wanted to give you my reasons why I will be abstaining. Thank you. Are there any other questions, comments, or concerns?
Council President?
Yes, Councilman Patil.
I think this is the third time, I see the audience here. This is all about ICE, the immigration. Last year, we had a similar situation, not exactly similar, but the buses were coming through Edison, going to New York. I think I was the first one who stood against what happened in Edison. So I'm very pro-immigrant. I understand the sentiments. It's very hardworking people. Immigrants are the backbone of US economy. Whether we like it or not, people need to understand. Whoever is going behind those hardworking families, I don't think they understand the very first fundamental of humanity. They're missing that. Beyond anything else. So we are all humans. We should be treated with respect and dignity. And that didn't happen in Edison 3 times back to back. And now we know that it's very high time, not just for this council, not just for this mayor, governor, everyone has to stay strong and support these hardworking families and come up, it's a fight. It's not the fight of you, it's a fight of us. It's for us. We'll have to come together, work shoulder to shoulder, and oppose what's happening there. Again, I'm fully supporting Councilman Patel. Thank you for proposing and I'll be in fully support of that. But anywhere, when somebody talks about immigrants, I'm the first generation immigrant. It's very near and dear to my heart. So when the issues of immigration pops up, you will always get my support. Thank you.
Any other final comments? Councilman Coyle?
Council President, is there a chance you can move this resolution to September 10th so we can have a full vote? Councilman?
There's
We already have a motion in place.
There's a motion and a second.
We have a motion, we have nothing in front of us. We have 4 council members. That's your decision.
Legal, what is the process in this case? Because I know we have done it in the past.
Yeah, there's a motion on the table, you made a proper motion, there was a proper second. Before a vote, there could be a motion to table this to a date certain, if you wanted to. You would need a second, and there would need to be a vote on that as well. But if that fails, the vote will be taken this evening.
Okay.
Yeah.
We should go with the vote.
I would say vote.
Sure, we'll go.
There's no motion tabled, then you can call the question.
No motion to table, so this will be a resolution 510, I believe it will be. In broad context, it will be in terms of supporting, and I apologize, I don't have the...
S3672?
And A497, Immigration Trust Act.
The law department can prepare the resolution. I think I clearly understand what the intent of council is here this evening. Yeah.
So that's the motion.
Motion to
We
support
already
them.
have the motion on the floor.
Correct.
Support for you to draft the resolution.
Correct.
To support these two bills.
We just need a vote. We need a vote, yeah, that's it.
So, Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilmember Brusher.
Yes.
Councilmember Coyle.
Yes.
Councilmember Patel.
Yes.
Councilmember Patil.
Yes.
Council President Pointer.
Abstain for the reasons I mentioned before. I have not read the bill, and while I may in theory agree with it, I cannot in good conscience vote on something I did not read.
The motion passes. The motion passes, yeah.
Passes.
Thank you. The lady in the back? Sorry, the lady in the back, she's had her hand up for like a half hour. I feel bad. I'm going left and right.
So I would like to stay anonymous.
I'm sorry, could you, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, could you repeat?
I would like to stay anonymous.
Thank you, you are recognized.
Okay, so I'll keep it short, but the main thing I want to say is we had two council members clearly state their stance on the raids that happened. So after this, I would like to give each council member a chance to clearly state what their statement is on these raids, and stand by it or stand in silence so that we know what exactly your opinion is on what happened. Regarding what Richard said, the mayor actually did know that they were coming. He said himself that they did know, so what you said was just wrong. He knew that they were coming and he didn't do anything about it. And what they did was they put bracelets on each person to brand if they were documented or not. And when you start branding people with physical symbolism, you are reaching toward, we already are in a very tyrannical, I don't even know if that's a word, but we are reaching towards tyranny when you brand people and label them publicly by what they are based off of their documentation. And so that is one thing that I really want to mention, that it is important. You say that you don't have authority, but speaking out publicly with your words is very important. When you say nothing, that means you are complicit. And I understand, as you said, you have a history of immigration in your family. You're still white. And so you are protected from a lot of things that are going to happen to our community, because the people that are being targeted are Black, brown, and indigenous people, not white people. And so it's important for you to recognize that while you have that history, you still have an obligation to stand up for brown people, especially in Edison when it's a very highly concentrated immigrant community, that you have to use your privilege, that you recognize that you come from an immigrant background, but you are not going to be the one that is going to suffer from all of these things that are happening. And so one thing that I want to say to Mayor Sumit Joshi, who likes to call himself Sam, is that you are not white, you will not be chosen, and when you allow things like this to happen, when you comply in advance, you're opening us up for a lot more harm. And if they can do it to one person, regardless of what their immigration status is, they can and they will do it to everybody. And because he allowed for this to happen now, it is only going to get worse, because now they know that he is weak. They know that he's going to let it happen, and they're going to keep coming for people, and they're going to keep coming for different people. And it's only going to keep going worse because this happened now. And so it's important for all of you to speak up after this and clearly state what your opinion is. And that man over here just left, so we're going to wait for him to come back and also say that, because he's been not listening to anybody this entire time. He's been looking down while people are talking. And if you're sitting on this council, you need to look at us, you need to pay attention, and you need to listen and not be disrespectful and sitting on your phone doing whatever, looking down when people are talking, when, as people have said, you've already cut time off. So I think it's really important for all of you to realize that you have actionable steps to do. When there is another raid, you better show up. You better say that you are on this council and that you don't support this, even if you think you don't have authority. You have to use your voice, because why else are you here, right? If this is your job, the next time a raid happens, we expect all of you to stand there and say that you don't support what the mayor is allowing. regardless of if you think you have authority or not, because that is what your authority is, to speak up even if you think that nothing will happen from it. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I really would like to see what you all have to say about the raids and clearly state what your stance is on it, because you can't dilly-dally around the topic at hand, which only 2 people on the council have clearly stated what their opinion has when we've been talking about this the whole night.
Your time is allowed.
Councilman.
Council President.
Just a point of clarification for anyone that may not be aware. The gentleman that is sitting next to me is the representing attorney for the township. So he is not a council member, in case you thought by chance that was the case. I will open it up to
Council
Councilman
President.
Brusher.
Right. I mean, I guess the audience doesn't listen, or the last speaker just didn't listen. I clearly, right, you might be unhappy, but I clearly said that I don't support them going into a warehouse to arrest people, okay? You can go back and watch the tape again, right? You're going to hear that I said it, I think, twice. And when we talk about white privilege, I love when I hear that, because I'll be honest with you. What happens is, and that's a bigoted statement that you just made. And I'll tell you where it goes, because we are gonna talk about some history. Do we have any teachers in the room? Does anybody remember what happened in, I think it was 1880, when I think it was 15 Italians were accused of raping a white woman? Because when that happened, they hung those Italians. The president, in the future, decided to make Columbus Day. So while you might look at me as being white, right, at a time, my relatives were not considered white in this country. So I'd like you to Google back to the 1880s when Italians weren't considered white in this country. Every immigrant goes through the same thing. We all went through it. Our relatives went through it. You might be going through it now, but my grandfather went through it. But it is part of history, whether you like it or you don't like it. And the white privilege, when we talk about, I believe Mr. Hsu spoke about how come Trump won. Maybe Trump won because we put everything on someone else instead of standing up and trying to make our lives better here, okay? And that's what we should all really do. Like I said, it should be a conversation between people. It shouldn't be about whether it's a black or a white or a beige or a yellow. It shouldn't be about race. None of that should be brought into the equation. But when it gets brought into the equation, because it's not. Yes, I understand where you're staying. And you are blessed with the greatest country in the world. You're blessed probably with parents that have sent you to college and been able to pay for everything. Okay, but certain people have to pay this price. And where it goes, no, I can't help it. I'm going to go on, right? I get right, because it's a whole white privilege thing. Just like there's white privilege sitting in the audience there that would just like to condemn everybody. But go back, like I said, the Italians weren't considered white in, I think it was 1880. And any of the school teachers there would know that. And that's how we ended up with Columbus Day. 2025, yes. And I'll tell you what,
please have decorum.
In 2045, right, everybody that's here in this room that considers themselves not white, right, will end up being considered white by the next generation that comes here. The Italians did it. The Italians did it. It's a fact.
Point of order. Point of order.
So
I need to make sure that there's decorum in the.
Yes.
Councilman Brusher.
There you go.
Everyone, I understand this is sensitive is not the right word I want to use. It is a a very passionate, thank you, topic. However, disruptions back and forth, even on our side, does not further any conversation. So while you may not appreciate any comments that are made, I just ask for the courtesy to hear out, and then we can move forward. Thank you.
Right. It just comes that when I hear this about the white privilege, I grew up in a generation. My generation, I couldn't become a police officer in Edison Township because we had quotas at that time. Okay, so I couldn't have certain positions because of things that some white people did when my parents and my grandparents weren't even part of this country. They weren't even here. They came from no country where there was slavery. But we don't want to do that. What we want to do, right, is we want to condemn me, the young lady, because I happen to be white. It wasn't my choice to be born this way. Okay, I was born how I was born. But yet, you want to blame me for these problems. No, I was blamed individually because I was white, which is a bigoted statement. Okay? That is the truth. And if the people can't recognize that, well, then that's a problem. I'll yield my time till the next speaker comes.
Thank you, Councilman
Council
Brescher.
President,
Councilman Patel.
I would like to stand up for Councilman Brescher. I think this country is a big experiment, whether or not we can govern ourselves. And if we need solidarity, that means getting every single help we can and not creating a wall to say, hey, you are white, you're not with us. That is not fair. We need every single voice to shout with us and say, hey, this is not right, and we need to stand up against it. And we shouldn't create divides. That is what the point of this administration is, to divide us. And when we are divided, we cannot stand united against what is fair, what is justice. So please, I would ask you, if you make statements, say, join us, rather than stay in your own lane. That's it.
Just like to make any comments? I need to make sure to maintain decorum. Again, I understand the passion around everything, but please. Would anyone else like to make any comments? For myself, I said it before, I disavow the raids that happen. If there's anything that we can do in terms of communicating out to ensure that our community feels safe, feels welcome, that you have the information available so that you have a good quality of life, I will do what I can to try to provide for that. I'm not going to get into the white privilege thing because I acknowledge I've had white privilege. Like, I acknowledge that. But regardless, I disavow the raids that happen. I hope that we can have communication, better communication going forward so that we ensure that we have a safe community. Thank you. Any other? Seeing none? Yeah. Yes. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Good evening, council members, neighbors, and community members. My name is Stephanie. I'm a social worker here in New Jersey, and I'm the daughter of an immigrant family.
I'm sorry, ma'am. Can you just?
I'm so sorry. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, if you can just raise it up. I'm sorry.
Okay, no, all good.
Thank you. You're recognized.
Good evening, council members, neighbors, and community members. My name is Stephanie. I am a social worker here in New Jersey and the daughter of an immigrant family. What happened at Edison is not an immigration issue, it's a human rights crisis. Just days ago, ICE raided a warehouse here. 50+ workers were detained. Some were injured, families were torn apart, children were left without parents. And our local leadership stayed silent. Silence in the face of injustice is not neutrality, it is complicity. And the facts are clear. Due process is a constitutional right for everyone on U.S. soil. Entering without papers is a civil violation, not a crime. ICE has a record of overreach, even detaining people with legal status. Raids like this traumatize entire communities. And now the military force is being deployed into our cities, tanks, troops, intimidation, a crisis being invented where none exists. A real crisis is in Washington, where a convicted felon abuses power and under undermines democracy. This is not law and order, it is tyranny. And as a social worker, I see the damage every day. Children terrified their parents won't come home. Families avoiding medical care out of fear. Trauma that spills into schools, hospitals, and neighborhoods. It's not just raids. This administration is cutting Medicaid, the program that millions of low-income families, seniors, and people with disabilities rely on. In my hospital, I see firsthand how these cuts mean cancer patients delaying treatment, families struggling to afford prescriptions, and vulnerable people left without care. This isn't about immigration, it's about public health, human dignity, and the kind of country we want to be. That's why I call on the Edison Township Council to condemn these raids and demand answers from ICE, provide legal and social support for affected families, ensure Edison officials do not collaborate with ICE, and protect all working families who keep this community alive. Let me be clear, the mayor of Edison has a choice. He can listen to the people, or he can side with tyranny. We could uphold the rule of law and defend this community, or remain silent and complicit. Edison must decide which side of history it will stand on. But this is bigger than Edison. America is at a turning point. If the people, and especially our representatives, do not act now, we risk losing our democracy that we claim to defend. History will remember whether we choose courage or complicity. There is a saying I hold close. They tried to bury us, but they didn't know that we were seeds. This community will not be buried by fear. We will rise, we will organize, and we will fight for justice with everything we have. I refuse to accept fascism as our future. I refuse to stay silent, and I will continue to fight until justice wins. I urge you, stand with us, stand with we, the people.
Thank you, Council. Reverend Seth Copperdale at the Reformed Church of Highland Park.
Thank you, you're
I
recognized.
have a lot of congregants living in Edison, and we lease and sublease lots of apartments in Edison to refugees and immigrants, and have a ton of people working in the warehouses here. Not the two that got raided, but I was present for the Alba Wine and Spirits raid. I feel like if there had been a mass shooting or a massive fire in Edison or a mass kidnapping, tonight would have started with like a moment of silence and a recognition that everything is wrong, you know? I actually love being here for this meeting tonight, and I love what is the normal operations. I was sitting here actually totally impressed with just the kind of order of a general council meeting where you're going through the bond statements and where you're doing your thing. I wish for a world where that was normal business, but this is not normal times. We have had a mass kidnapping, a mass parent napping. And that's why we're here, and that's why we're hurting. The people in our lives are being pulled from us. And Edison is like center. This is kind of like, you know, the epicenter. It's one of the most diverse places in this whole country, in one of the 6 states with the most immigrants who have arrived in the last 5 years, which seems to be a big focus of the president's attacks. So somebody said that solidarity was didn't actually have real power, and you know, I want to just offer some ways that solidarity, it's all about power actually. And I think that this council, I just wanted to offer a couple suggestions to you. One, I would form, if you don't already have one, an ad hoc group on detention and deportation, an ad hoc committee of the council that can be first in line to be your first defense when stuff goes down, because this is going to happen every week for as long as we can imagine. And that committee could do things like assisting local businesses in assessing how many of their workers are at risk. We're learning about bonded warehouses, and in particular, how many warehouses in Edison are at risk of CBP having special rights or sort of special rights to go in and do searches. And that's putting these particular warehouses at risk. Learn about that through an ad hoc committee and inform the companies of this township about what's going on. Second, raising funds. We here in the nonprofit sector have raised tens and tens of thousands just to help the first 50 families in these 2 warehouse raids that have reached out and said they're desperate for help with legal fees and with rent because the breadwinners are gone. think about if there's a way to inspire the community voluntarily. I'm not asking for more bonds. I see that that's a big issue here already. But the council spirit could get behind that. And making demands of the state just to let them know how much this hurts. So it's both about pushing for the Immigrant Trust Act, but really just starting to, on the daily, let the state know that Edison is suffering. Edison's people are really, really suffering. And then just outrage and compassion. Those are two things, you know, heart and spine, when it comes to one of these things that goes down. When we hear, before we ask, that you're super upset, it means something. When we hear, before we ask, that families have been reached out to and offered some condolences, we got people who've been here 20, 30 years, worked in the same warehouse for 12 years, and now have been ripped away and had their families broken up in a day. These kinds of things, you know, people want to hear from elected officials that this is not okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your comments.
Hello. Hi, my name is Jacob Daniels. Lived in Edison since I was 6 years old.
Thank you. You're recognized.
First off, I just want to say congratulations to the men on the end. In 20 years, you get to be white, according to Brescher. So I'm sure you get all the privileges along with that. On Thursday, ICE entered the Smart Logistics warehouse and kidnapped 29 of our neighbors at their jobs. They did this without a warrant, without identifying themselves, without legal precedent, and they did this with the full endorsement and permission of Edison's first Indian American mayor, Sam Joshi. He did know, he did say nothing, and we see him now. His family immigrated here for a better life like many immigrants before them, and I'm calling out the mayor, well, I would have if he were here, calling him out and highlighting his family, because ICE, there's no guarantee that ICE wouldn't have accosted him and his family too. His family is not unique to the American promise, that anyone who works hard will find an opportunity here. I don't know if he agrees with these kidnappings. I have to believe he did if he said nothing and he saw it was coming and was okay with it. Maybe he doesn't care that a secret police force is rounding up immigrants and citizens suspected of being undocumented and throwing them into camps without due process. But I care, and everyone here does. I'm a proud Jewish American, and I've been taught my entire life to fight fascism and to fight the Nazis. When we said never again, we meant for everyone. If one of us is in danger of losing our rights, every single one of us is, because they can do that. Recent reports indicate that approximately 45% of Edison residents are immigrants. That's nearly half the population of Edison, and many of them are undocumented. Some 10% are Hispanic. And his silence lets me know that he is content to feed any one of them to the ICE, to the terrorist organization known as ICE. Mr. Pointer, you said that if they didn't commit a crime, they shouldn't be treated harshly. The Constitution protects individuals from harsh and inhumane treatment, regardless of even if they've been accused of committing a crime. We're asking you all to join us, to get up, do your jobs, start speaking up and protecting all the residents of Edison. Figure out what you can do and do it. Just because you don't have the legal authority to make something happen, you have a louder voice than anyone here, and we need you to use that. We will support you with this. We're here to help with that. Just support your residents, that's all I got.
Sir in the black over there? Yeah.
Hello, can you hear me? I come from Newark. My name is Derek Galley Martinez.
Thank you. You're recognized.
Thank you. A little background. I am certified on human rights and diplomacy by the Institute of Diplomacy and Human Rights in Washington, D.C. I worked as a president of UN USA, which is an organization that works directly with the United Nations. And I have led several organizations in the States. And what I gotta say is that first, with all due respect, Assemblyman, this country was founded on slavery, not hardworking people, on slavery. It was not founded by will. It was founded by power and genocide. We can love the idea of the country and what it's becoming, but we have to be true to the nature of the nation. Also, when we talk about your ability to stand up or form a coalition, this country was founded by a group of people who said, enough is enough. We're going to gather with no real mandate against the ruling government and say we're going to declare a continental Congress, a standing army, and we're going to fight back for our rights. So as a council, while you're obviously not going to arm yourselves against the government, you can form a coalition with other councils and push back against the federal government. There's such things as state and federal rights in this country. It's a founding principle. When it comes to the ICE raids, it really comes down to whether your humanity depends on your keeping your position or on going against human rights. Let's not forget that, for example, I am a Puerto Rican American. We were taken over after the Spanish-American War, and for 60 years, just for showing our colonial flag or flag that we are so proud of, we were thrown in jail and experimented on. So no, this country is not all roses and love for everyone. But I do believe in the founding principles of democracy and the big experiments, can we govern ourselves? When you go and see ICE or any form of fascism in this government, you have to ask yourself, have all the men and women that died in our wars protecting our principles deserve this is how we end? This is how the great American experiment ends, with a fascist government. How do you feel when World War II vets come online and say, I have fought fascism overseas and now in my home, and I can no longer fight? You talk about history, you talk about teachers. We don't pay our teachers enough. You all love, whether it's left or right, all love to go ahead and do what's popular, say what line really hits the bus for a vote. But how about standing on principle? How about going out here and sitting outside those warehouses, and when ICE comes, you say, as the elected official of these towns, we will not let you enter. So I ask you one more time, as so many of your residents have, what will you do? Will you put a simple resolution and sit at your desk? Whether you agree with how the government currently carries out the policy. And let's not forget that President Donald J. Trump cited the Alien Enemies Act, which was an act enacted during a time of war. Has Congress declared a state of war? Because last time I checked, a full House, a full session of Congress was not called. The Congress did not take a vote on declaring this country in a state of war. And if we are not going to abide by our founding principles, then America's already dead. Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks.
My arm is killing me. Okay. Hello, everybody. My name's Amanda Dominguez, and I'm a resident of New Brunswick, New Jersey.
Thank you, you're recognized.
Hi. So my name is Amanda, and I am a member of the organization New Labor. New Labor is a workers' rights organization. It's a nonprofit in New Jersey that educates workers about their rights and supports workers for better working conditions across the state. And so you might want to know why maybe a resident of New Brunswick is here today. It's because through the Dyer network that we're a part of, we receive calls that our residents in New Brunswick were working at this Edison warehouse with the other workers when ICE came and began to cause their violent raid. I was there for the Alba Wine warehouse raid, and I was there for the one that happened last Wednesday. They are getting more and more violent. At the Alba Wine warehouse raid, when we showed up, we were not permitted to get close enough to the workers to remind them about their rights. We were not permitted to get close enough to management of the warehouse to let them know, hey, we're here for you. Do you need support right now? Do your workers need support right now? Instead, we were screamed at and told to stand behind the line while they sent in dogs after workers. Their tactics are to scare, terrorize, send attack dogs in, arrest people, and ask questions later. This is something we should all be able to stand behind and condemn. Everybody in there was zip-tied or had handcuffs put on them until they could prove or attempt to prove some form of status in this country. And I don't know about you, but I don't always carry everything with me all the time, especially if I have a job to do that might be a little bit dirty or difficult. Maybe I don't want my most important papers attached to me during those moments. And instead, they're being treated like criminals instead of like humans. At the last one in Edison that happened last Wednesday, it was even more violent. I don't know if everyone knows, but 2 to 3 ambulances were called to that warehouse during that time. It was a 5-hour ordeal, and I was out there in the rain with Reynalda and with other people, with Carlos and Ellen, for this whole time trying to support these workers. 5 hours. And what did they do? They had drones in there. They were physically harming people. We had a guy come out, he had blood dripping down his leg. Another person was bleeding from their side, and someone had an accidental fall. It's really interesting that the day that ICE shows up, there's all these accidents. There's violence happening in the Edison community, and it's not even affecting just residents of Edison, but there's people who came down here from Jersey City to come work here and support your economy, people who came over from your neighboring town of New Brunswick. And I'm here to speak for some of those residents of New Brunswick who couldn't be here tonight. One such person had their nephew taken from them. He is a father. He was a part of ROTC. He has 2 children and a wife. He was taken on Wednesday. He was detained. He was moved to Texas by Friday and deported to Mexico by Saturday. That's it. There was no due process. There was no seeing a judge. There was no fighting his case, no seeing his family. The Mexican consulate from New Brunswick tried to go visit him, and they weren't allowed. They tried to bring some paperwork for him. They tried to bring some money. They're charging $20 a phone call for a 5-minute phone call in these detention centers. They're for-profit centers. Families can't afford this, and by the time they figure out their rights and get things together, guess what? Their loved ones deported. So I was gonna ask the mayor today if he could tell me where all our loved ones are from New Brunswick and from Jersey City and the surrounding areas, and for the residents of Edison. And so I know some of you said this was a little performative today, and you might say that me standing here is performative too. But we got you guys to talk about the Immigrant Trust Act and begin to support it. And maybe then you guys can organize the way we organized in this room. You guys organize and get more officials to support it. And then it gets bigger and bigger until we get it passed. We need it passed. There are 7 more bonded warehouses in Edison and 80 in New Jersey. This will happen again if we don't do something soon. Thank you.
Good evening, council members. My name is Anna Rose Gable, and I live on Crowles Road and on the edge of Highland Park.
Thank you. You're recognized.
The apartment complex adjacent to mine is in Edison. Like many of us, I'm here tonight to speak out against the 2 major Edison warehouse raids that ripped irreparable holes in our community this past month, as Amanda described so well. I'm concerned about the situation for several reasons. First, as a community member and neighbor. Second, as a teacher of young people. Third, as an aspiring homeowner. And finally, as a person of faith. As a community member, I am horrified that the Edison Mayor's Office, in spite of being informed about these raids ahead of time, declined to contact affected businesses, workers, and advocacy groups. As a result of this negligence, as Amanda said, at least 2 workers, maybe more, were physically injured, and countless law-abiding workers and their families were traumatized as federal agents broke into their workplaces, hunted them down with dogs and drones, marked some coworkers as worthy while segregating and abducting others, and ultimately ripped over 50 families apart. As a volunteer hotline operator with Dyer, I have taken numerous calls from heartbroken family members trying desperately to locate their loved ones and make impossible decisions regarding the future of their lives together. Council, we need to see your outrage for these families. As an educator of English language learners, I'm intimately familiar with the limited options and desperate hopes of families living in our country without authorization. These families are not criminals, nor are they avoiding accountability. Rather, our country has not passed meaningful, comprehensive immigration reform since before I was born. Yet, we are clearly desperate for exploitable labor. Our continual failure to create pathways to authorize families to live and work here has created a system where their labor is almost limitlessly exploitable. Most of the workers detained in these raids report to temp labor agencies each morning for work, ready to take on whatever job needs doing. We clearly value these workers' labor, yet our continual inaction reveals blatant disregard for their humanity. As an aspiring homeowner, the boundaries between New Brunswick, Highland Park, and Edison matter to me only to the extent that roadways pose limits on my ability to walk or bike between the three. Yet, knowing that Edison's town leadership has such little regard for people living and working here makes me pause to consider, is this really a welcoming community where I would want to start a family and pay taxes? As a person of faith, I'm keenly aware that actions such as these raids don't just impact undocumented workers and their families. Not only does their trauma trickle out to touch our lives and community with one another, but when we ignore their plight, we open the door to our own oppression. Already, the US president is using AI to challenge visa holders, making genuine attempts to end birthright citizenship and threaten the permanency of green card status, and using federal law enforcement to pursue his political foes. When we fail to protect our most vulnerable community members, we fail to protect ourselves. It is not too late for Edison to save face on these issues. Middlesex County is home to countless immigrant-run businesses generating wealth for our towns by attracting all kinds of customers. It is past time for Edison town leadership to issue a public statement condemning the actions of CBP and ICE agents, as has been done in other New Jersey towns where ICE raids have occurred. It is also high time Edison passed a resolution in support of the Immigrant Trust Act. Thank you. I also hope you will take into consideration the suggestions that Pastor Seth made. And finally, if Edison is notified of another raid in the future, we fully expect this council to notify its constituents or face consequences on Election Day. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
Hi, my name is Jennifer. I wanted to ask if I can translate for my dad because he's a previous worker of the company that was raided. So is it okay if he says it in Spanish and I translate?
I'm fairly certain that's permissible. You're allowed a translator. Can I just ask about the timing aspect? Because, like, 4 minutes, you know what I mean? Like,
Can we wait till the council comes back and?
can I just ask to pause for one to get the legal counsel? Can I have to?
Where did he go?
I think the restrooms.
Oh.
I apologize, but from just so that you're aware, like, in terms of running the meeting, I have to treat everyone the exact same. You know what I mean? So I don't mean any disrespect in that. I just want to make sure I follow the process I'm supposed to.
Should someone go before?
Yeah, if that's okay, just for, until he gets back, I can get clarification. And again, thank you for understanding.
Could you make sure that I'm going back to an issue on here with the ordinance?
I'm sorry, I do ask name and address. You
Oh,
don't
I'm
have to
sorry,
provide if you don't
Catherine
want.
Ford, Purdue Road, Edison.
I appreciate it. Thank you. You are recognized.
Ordinance 2254 regarding the improvements to the water utility. I do not feel that you clarified specifically what type of bond. You just said pretty much like an obligation.
I think she's asking on the water and sewer bonds, just for further clarification,
Right.
if
You
they
didn't
were.
clarify what specific type of bond. You just kind of went around in circles.
They are bonds issued by the Edison sewer utility or water utility.
Right,
They're
but there's-
obligations of those utilities. They are not obligations of the Township of Edison backed by ad valorem taxes.
Is there a difference in the type, like classification of bond? I understand it's a different entity, and I think that's what she's trying to get to.
They're similar to revenue bonds as
They're
opposed to being
similar, but
backed
are
by
they?
property taxes.
Okay. Does that provide the clarification you were asking?
You're saying they're similar. Are they revenue bonds or are they general obligation bonds?
They are obligations of the Edison sewer utility. They are backed by revenues of the sewer utility or the water utility.
Okay, because it's my understanding that obligation bonds all the taxpayers in the town are responsible for, whereas we were told before that it would just be the residents that are affected by it, not the Middlesex Water Company residents.
If I'm understanding correctly, and I apologize, I'm taking up time, I think that generally the water rates would be adjusted to be able to pay off, and that's how it
Correct.
becomes almost like a operating bond or a revenue bond versus, even though it's classified as a general expense, like the water rates would be adjusted accordingly to make sure that that bond can be paid off. So it's the same but different. And
Correct.
hopefully
They are not obligations of the taxpayers of Edison. I don't know how to state it any clearer than that.
But
they are obligations of either the water utility or sewer utility and paid for by revenues from those respective utilities.
Okay, but sewer utilities paid through taxes, so is that not going to affect Middlesex
the
Water?
sewer utility is paid through the, like our sewer bill, right? We have our water and the sewer bill, so the sewer.
Therefore, because you have to improve the other side of town's water that don't have Middlesex water, our sewer taxes, basically, this sounds like, are going to go up also.
Well,
because
on the sewer items, yes, there would be a correlation in regards to potential rates, which I know that we've adjusted, and I think that's in part in preparation for any incurred debt. In terms of the water items, that would be through the users of the Edison water utility.
Okay, so there's going to be a differentiation
They are,
between that.
each one is a different entity. So the sewer utility does the entire township. The Edison water utility is primarily on the south side, about 12,000 residents that it serves.
Okay. And just quickly, I want to get in still, because I saw later in that Comcast. Still, I live on North Edison over a year ago. They dug up my lawn. I've called several times. It's still a mess. I've been trying to reseed it, but they have all these rocks and stuff that came up. That why are we allowing this with Comcast? That this problems have still not been fixed. And I've seen my neighbor's yards the same. That's it.
Thank you. And that issue in regards to the repair has been brought up several times before. I believe the administration is working with them to situate that.
Yes, I would request that any and all residents that have been affected to email the administration. We are working with each different situation directly with Comcast.
In addition to the Q alert, which I know that addresses a little long, you can also email help@edisonnj.gov. So if anyone that's wondering if you need just a general assistance, help@edisonnj.gov would be the email that you can reach out to. Thank you. Before moving, because I had promised the other speaker, she was asking about translating for her father. I just want to be respectful of the time. If there's anything I need to be considerate of.
I mean, the time limit still applies, but she's welcome to translate, sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so ma'am. And just to reiterate, and I understand it will take time in the translation aspect, 4 minutes is the time limit. That's perfectly fine, right?
Yeah, it's fine.
Buenas noches, mi nombre es Wilfrido.
You're recognized, sir.
Vivimos en Somerset.
So his name is Wilfredo. He lives in Somerset.
You're recognized. Thank you, sir.
Ok. Yo estuve trabajando en una compañía en Edison, compañía de Amazon. Entonces, ahí en esa compañía pasó algo que, bueno, que todos sabemos que llegó ICE a la compañía.
So he used to work for this company, Smart Supply Chain, in Edison, and we all know what happened with the ICE raids.
Ok, cuando yo empecé a trabajar en el año 2022, la compañía era una compañía pequeña. Entonces, ellos rentaron otra compañía más grande. Llegaron a tener 80 personas.
So when I used to work there in 2022, this company was smaller. So then they rented another warehouse in Edison, making it for a capacity for 80 workers or more.
Ok, y entonces ellos tenía un security trabajando para revisar los conductores que entran a recoger mercancía.
So they always had security to check on who were the truckers who were coming into the company to pick up the merchandise.
Y lo que pasó con el security, que ICE entró, empujó a la persona cayó. Y él dice que está accidentado.
So when he says, my father says that when the news reported that ICE basically barged in and pushed security aside, that's when they said that's an accident.
Entonces, ellos lo que hicieron su trabajo, entraron a la fuerza para arrestar a las personas que estaban adentro. Muchas personas se escondieron y pusieron drones adentro para revisar en dónde están las personas escondidas.
So with that being said, ICE did its job in barging into the warehouse and also sending drones to see if there were workers who climbed up on those high boxes.
Ok, entonces arrestaron 50 personas, fueron arrestados por todo y quedaron como 30 personas no arrestados.
So 50 people were arrested. ¿Cuánto dijo papi otra vez? ¿50 y 30?
50 arrestados
Okay.
y 30 quedaron.
Okay, so 50 were arrested and 30 stayed.
Y lo que pasó, yo tengo un amigo que está arrestado y lo tiene ICE detenido. Él es apellido Martínez, solamente.
So he has a really good relationship with the workers there, and one of his best friends, last name Martinez, he's detained and he's at the Newark Detention Center.
Él tiene su familia que mantener y bueno, pues ahora la familia quedaron solos y yo pienso que no van a poder pagar lo que es la renta, lo que se paga mensualmente.
So the family right now is in need. They can't pay their rent, so the family is gonna need help.
Pues eso era lo único que yo tenía que decirle a ustedes, lo que está pasando en la área de Edison. Y también aparte de eso, yo me daba cuenta cuando andaban los helicópteros aquí en esta área, revisando a las compañías en donde tenían que entrar.
So my father is saying that because he works also in warehousing in another company, he noticed that Edison had helicopter presence more than usual. And he feels or knows that those helicopters were looking at each warehouse to see which one had the most presence of immigrants.
Eso es todo, gracias.
That's it.
I want to say I do appreciate wholeheartedly you coming out and being a voice and making us aware more of a firsthand account of the situation. So thank you. Yes, ma'am. On the right. Either.
Hi, my name is Megan Shook. I'm a resident of Highland Park with long familial ties to Edison.
You're recognized. Thank you.
So what we witnessed tonight in the conversation between the council and the people is exactly what's gotten us here. It is people in positions of privilege and power denying their privilege and power, getting distracted by protecting themselves and their own public image, and in doing so, handing those more vulnerable than them over to people who want to hurt them. It is disheartening and frankly quite embarrassing to hear you sit there and say that you have no power in a room full of vulnerable people who believe in the power of their voices. Your voices are powerful because you are sitting elected officials. The fact that you will sit there and say that you as elected officials have no power is a slap in the face to everyone here who risks their own safety and security in order to ask you to do your jobs and stand up for them. You are the council of this town. While Mr. Brescher thinks that we don't know what that means, I know that it means that you are a critical part of this town's checks and balances system. In normal times, That means passing legislation, overseeing personnel, passing the budget, and so on. As Seth said earlier, these are not normal times, and so I'd like to remind you that your responsibilities of checks and balances have grown. Your mayor has made his opinions on Edison not being a place that welcomes vulnerable immigrants very clear when he threatened to bus out legal asylum seekers. And you all had largely neutral to politically safe responses to that at the time. I'm assuming this is because you recognize the power of your voices and you know that there is a risk in speaking out. Tell the vulnerable people that elected you and the workers who support your town's economy that they are worth the risk. I believe you know better. So I hope you will stop lying to yourselves and do better in holding this town's government accountable and keeping its people safe. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Paul Ambos. I live in Highland Park. One of my sons and his family live in Edison.
Thank you. You're recognized.
History has been mentioned before in this evening's discussions, and nobody here remembers what happened in 1888 because we weren't there. However, anyone whose grandparents got here before 1921 got here to this country before there were any quotas. In 1921, quotas were established for the first time, limiting immigration from different countries, depending upon what the quota was assigned to that. If you were beyond the quota for your country, you couldn't get here legally. So many people that are here now are because of this quota system, which the federal government has kept in going. Councilman Brescher had mentioned that he doesn't think the left listens to the right or the right listens to the left. However, last year there was a bipartisan immigration reformation bill that would have been passed, except for then candidate Donald Trump quashed it for what many people are saying are racist or demagogic reasons. And it still has been demonstrated that that's what his aims are continuing. Note that the ICE raids arrested the workers, did not arrest the people who hired them. We still have a 10th Amendment to the Constitution that powers not given to the federal government are reserved to the states. You are operating under the states of New Jersey, and you have powers to do things as that to protect your citizens and the workers who work here. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
Good evening. I'm Dr. Elizabeth Polito, the granddaughter of immigrants who chose Edison for a good place to live.
Thank you. You're recognized.
Thank you. My colleague spoke so well and my pastor spoke so well that I'm going to take a different tack and offer some talking points for your colleagues on the right. Immigrants strengthen the economy, create jobs, reduce inflation, and contribute innovation. They add $525 billion annually to taxes, to the tax coffers, and 17% of the GDP is from immigrants. Each immigrant adds $21,000 more in taxes, pays $21,000 more in taxes than it costs to support them. And I speak from experience, having worked for Interfaith Rise with immigrants and refugees as an educator. Immigrants perform tasks that others don't want to: house cleaning, lawn maintenance, food delivery, Lyft and Uber driving, and those who facilitate the movement of goods and services through companies such as Amazon. We need immigrants, especially with the damage that the president's tariffs are doing to the economy. The mayor of Edison welcomed the economic benefits of Amazon, but did not take responsibility for the raids on the very same facility, did not condemn them. And then instead of helping hardworking immigrants become members of the community, the mayor has allowed them to be arrested and detained against the law by unidentified law enforcement, perhaps law enforcement, because they're having a hard time recruiting candidates for ICE, so they're lowering the bar, lowering the education requirements, stretching the age limits. Unidentified law enforcement in unmarked vehicles without a warrant. I suppose you all know that this is illegal. The lucky ones who were released were given yellow bracelets, which calls to mind Germany in the 1930s. Authoritarian regimes only succeed if the people and their elected officials remain silent. As a person of faith, I cannot remain silent. So we are waiting for our leaders to lead on these issues. In the meantime, we're speaking out. And those who do speak out, those leaders who do speak out, like Gavin Newsom, are skyrocketing in the polls. Thank you.
Thanks. Is anyone else? Gentleman in the back.
Hi, my name is Bruno Oridi. I'm a resident of Highland Park.
Thank you. You're recognized.
I'm also a psychologist who works for Interfaith Rise and am part of what is known as the Refugee Health Promotion Team. And I just want to say what might be obvious to everyone is that the majority of people, the overwhelming majority of people who are now being deported or threatened or being deported, followed all the rules. They came here totally legally. They were vetted and are now having those, the deal that said, come from a place where there is war, come from a place where there is imminent threat of violence to you for a whole host of reasons. Now they're being told they have to go back. That's the reality. And this isn't about criminals. There are plenty of laws about criminals, and they should be followed. These are not criminals, but they are made criminals by the whim of government. I want to say that to all of us that who don't understand yet, but we really are facing a threat to our democracy. And if you want to catch up on that or get ahead of the curve on it, just read Benito Mussolini. He describes it perfectly. He was proud of his strategy. He doesn't hide it. He gives you details about the relationship between the corporate state and the elected officials. And so if you have any doubts, you can learn about it. It's real simple. So I just also wanted to say that the longer this meeting goes on, we're achieving a certain end, which is we're learning from each other, right? And that's the only way to go. Reverend Caperdale said earlier many things, and of course, I agree with all of them. But one of the things I wanted to reemphasize was that you can call together commissions, form partnership with your community, and have a series of learning experiences to learn about all these issues and the laws and the history, et cetera, whatever is relevant, because we have to catch up, because they're way ahead of us. And before you know it, this is not going to be able to be undone. People have lost their lives. I can just give you very quickly in my position, and I hear from people who are in, families of people who are in detention. And as one example, one gentleman had spinal cord surgery and his staples were not removed. And while in ICE, he did not have those staples removed. So then he had an infection in his spinal cord. And in addition, he had a tumor, and that an aneurysm in his brain. And that was not treated. So then we were left to scramble. Where is he? Well, he was down south. He was in Louisiana. We didn't know that at first. Who's representing him? I have a cousin in Texas who says, he's a physician's assistant. He says, well, if you're in that part of the country, here's a certain hospital that treats people in prison. So we actually had to find a representative a lawyer who could represent him and give him just sort of step by step. But this is not uncommon whatsoever. We're in a lawless zone here within ICE. And I would ask each of you if you are familiar with any of the policies and procedures of ICE as written. Have you read the policies and procedures of ICE? Because they break those procedures, right? Not to mention they're probably founded upon things that are unconstitutional in certain instances. But in fact, if you follow their own rules, they break it constantly. The other thing I wanted to say very quickly is that there are rules and guidelines for employers, and you can set up spaces where ICE would have to show a warrant before they take you. This can happen, and it's very illegal. So I hope things like that can be explored.
Thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
I'm going to be stepping aside for a minute, so I'm going to ask Councilman Patil to.
Good evening, Council. I'm Charlie Cradaville. I'm from New Brunswick. I'm the editor of New Brunswick Today. Am I recognized?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I want to start by bringing everyone's attention to an article I wrote. Gives you some idea of Edison under Mayor Sam Joshi. It's called NBT Lawsuit Reveals Videos of Edison Cops Detaining Busload of Immigrants. And, you know, I had to sue to get the footage because Edison was not being transparent about what happened. And when I did, I was shocked to see, you know, the Edison police force immigrants to leave town and making sick jokes about it. The mayor's not here. His chief of staff's not here. The police chief's not here. The council president's not here. And the person who was filling in for the council president just left too. And that's a shame because it's very obvious that in this moment, we need leadership. People are here looking for leadership. And the truth is, you did a good thing by supporting the Immigrant Trust Act, but it's not nearly enough. The leadership, the real leadership, is here on this side. It's people like Pastor Seth and Dyer, people like my friend John Shue, like the wonderful team at New Labor. And so I hope that, please, you don't end the discussion here, but take some time to follow up with some of the speakers you heard from tonight who have more information about this issue than you. It's a moment where we need leaders who know what they're doing, and we need leaders who are ready to have some courage and put themselves on the line, and that's what I see on this side. And if you want to stay on that side, you need to show leadership yourself. It's time we do a lot more than just pass the Immigrant Trust Act. We need to abolish ICE. We need to build a movement capable of ending all private prisons in this country. And at a bare minimum, we need all of you to get your own police force under control and speak out when they violate people's rights. So I would like to hear from the council about that New Year's Eve, New Year's Day incident where Edison police violated the rights of a busload of people. Do you condemn that? Anyone? Anyone?
I did, if you remember that.
And I appreciate you doing that. Anybody else have thoughts? Did anybody else look into it? Anybody else share my concerns about the way Edison police handled that incident?
There were council people that said it was wrong, Charlie.
I know.
I was one of them, and I know AJ was. But you know what it is? I mean, at the end of the day, we do voice our opinion. The mayor is ultimately the person. He's ultimately the person. We don't have any recourse with him. The people do.
I get that. There's two other council people who haven't spoken on this. If I recall, I didn't hear anything on this from you. Mr. Pointer, Mr. Patel.
Well, respectfully, I just walked in after using the restroom, so the pretext, like...
If you'll allow me to just say, I wrote an article, NBT lawsuit reveals videos of Edison cops
Sir, your
detaining a
time- your time
busload
is
of immigrants. Did you read the article? Did you have any reaction to
Sir,
it?
your time has elapsed. I will try to do my research to your article.
Well, I hope that you'll go back and watch the comments you missed while you were in the
Your time
restroom,
has
that's all.
elapsed. Thank you. Any other speakers? Ma'am?
Try to make it quick. So my name is Jennifer. I live on Hana Road here in Edison.
Thank you. You're recognized.
Thank you. So I just want to give you perspective. Edison, New Jersey is very special to me because I went to Middlesex College when it was Middlesex Community College or County College. So I was able to find success there. I never thought I would be in activism or anything about labor rights. So I did work for New Labor for more than 5 years, helping their domestic worker bill of rights. But also, I saw my coworkers push for the NJ temp worker bill of rights. And as of right now, my dad is a temp worker, even though he's a permanent resident. So I want to give you more perspective on this. Basically, there are companies, such as the company that was raided. They are basically transferring all the workers that are brown to temp agencies, basically saying this is protocol in case ICE comes. So with that being said, I went to my dad's job and I spoke to management. I was like, hey, why is my dad earning $3 less than what he's supposed to? Because his job pays $21 an hour if you work with the company, but with temp agency, it's $18. So that's a huge difference. And they were just saying, oh, this is just ICE protocol. So if ICE comes here, they have to show the warrant to the temp agency that's in Route 130 instead of the warehouse. That's such a boss tactic. That's somebody saying, put the blame on someone else, get away from me, because they don't like me there. But my dad and I were trying to see if he can get another job because he's vulnerable. They're targeting these warehouses. My dad is the backbone of the economy along with all those workers because they're the ones that are helping Amazon, who is right there across the street, meet their quotas. They can't even meet their quotas right now. Why? Because there's so many people ordering packages and they don't have breaks there. Why? Because I do have a cousin that works there and there's so many people that are being injured daily, but Amazon doesn't recognize it. But with that being said, I really like that everyone here is pressuring you guys to show up. The reason being is because we saw that in Trenton when there was ICE trying to go into a family's home, trying to snatch people away. So other groups like Resistencia, they basically responded, and our representative, Bonnie Watson-Cole, was there. Even though she has power, you guys have power too. So I expect that when there's another ICE raid, I know you guys say we don't know when it happens, but if it does happen, go show up. Because yes, you do have privilege. You have that badge right here, something that I don't have. And as a first-generation Mexican-American, they will take me away. They will not care. Would they ask if I'm a US citizen? No, they don't care. But they will respect you guys because you have that composure. You have years. And I also want to say with the work that I'm doing on my day job, Newark passed Vote 16 as an ordinance, basically telling children or teenagers that they can vote. There should be an ordinance here in Edison too for Vote 16 so they can be awake and see what our elected officials are doing because we need the support of the youth. And also, I think when it comes to municipal elections, I think that's the lowest participation. So I think a Vote 16 ordinance would be really good so you guys can keep your seats, or who knows, you guys will not keep your seats. But that's very important because the youth need to be politically involved. I hear people say I don't vote because I only vote in presidential elections. Show them here. Here is the root. Thank you.
For your comments. Any other speakers?
Oh, one in the back. Two.
Sorry, the lady in the back.
Hear me? Short, so I'll adjust this. Thank you. My name is Reed Duncan. I'm a resident of your friendly neighbor, Highland Park.
Thank you. You're recognized.
I'm going to do you a public service announcement. What the Immigration Trust Act does. It ensures that local resources are used to support local priorities rather than fund federal immigration enforcement. It protects personal information by limiting the circumstances under which public agencies can collect information related to immigration status. It requires public schools, healthcare facilities, libraries, and shelters to adopt model policies to help people feel safer seeking the public service to which they're eligible. It prohibits state and local law enforcement from cooperating with federal immigration authorities when doing so is voluntary under federal law. It eliminates carve-outs in the New Jersey Attorney General's Immigrant Trust Directive that deny the same protections to immigrants entangled in the criminal legal system and that disproportionately harm Black and brown New Jerseyans due to racial disparities in policing and prosecution. And it creates a reporting requirement to track compliance with the act. So that's what hopefully you're all supporting, and I hope that you've listened to all my colleagues who have said a lot of really important and heartfelt messages about what this council and other councils like it can do. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Sir.
This isn't going to take me too long to go through. I like going last because
Can I just
don't.
ask name and address before?
Sure. My name is Greg, and I live in hell. We've elected a rapist into presidency whose concepts are led by a conservative think tank lined with deep pockets, undermining the Constitution, giving power to arbitrary authorities, covering a child trafficking ring. It's been said, hard times create strong men. Strong men create good times. Good times create weak men, and weak men create hard times. The weak bastard masquerading as someone special doesn't give a damn for anyone who doesn't kiss the ring. The theocrats in power have found their golden calf. They've realized by putting him on the pedestal he desires, they can get every racist, bigoted policy signed as an executive order, no matter how far from reality their ideas are. We need strong leaders, not weak pushovers. Leaders who are willing to pass local legislation in defiance of the right-wing terroristic actions being committed by our federal government. Thank you.
Hi, good evening, council members. My name is Alejandro Jaramillo, and I am from Rahway, New Jersey, and I am a volunteer with the Cosecha movement that fights for dignity and respect for immigrants.
Thank you. You're recognized.
So we are here because we want to denounce the complicity of the mayor with ICE. That is not acceptable, and also we hope that you use your power to bring him to task and to bring him to his attention. You have a lot of power, believe it or not. Councilman Richards and some others say that you have limited power, but we understand. We also have limited power, but we are here, and it's finding the way to exercise that power. And also, I just want to make a comment that I kept hearing when different people talk about immigrants and their status, that they always bring this term of the criminality, right? That if you don't have a criminal record, blah, 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 blah. And when you use that term, you are double victimizing hardworking immigrants. You should not use that term whenever you say, oh, if you haven't committed any crime. When do you tell any US citizen, oh, you can go and vote, but if you don't have a criminal record, blah, 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 right? So take that out of your language. And with regards to Councilman Richard, it seems that you are sensitive with the term white privilege, right? And I'm gonna give you my perspective. I am white, and I am white privilege, but I use my privilege to fight for justice, right? I use that privilege to empower my community to do good things, right? So use your privilege for the good, right? And maybe about the history of the Italians that came and all that, maybe you should also read some of the history about the intervention of the US in all Latin America, right? That when it invaded Nicaragua in 1920s, then it created a coup and intervened in Guatemala, right, where there was a democratic elected president, right? And all these policies that have generated waves of people that were forced to immigrate to the US, not because they want to be in the US, but it's because they were in so desperate conditions due to economics, due to dictators, due to wars, right? And that's why they immigrated, and they are here providing value to this society. Immigrants pay tax, undocumented immigrants. I don't remember the exact number, but they pay about like 20 or 12 billion dollars in taxes for benefits that they don't get. You know, undocumented immigrants don't collect Medicaid, don't collect Social Security, they don't have any of those rights. However, they pay taxes. So they are subsidizing a lot of the benefits that the US and permanent residents receive, right? So what I want to end is telling you is that you have power, and you have to have the courage, you know, to challenge the status quo and to stand in the right side of history and to fight for justice. And what is happening now is very unjust. And the only criminal that we should be thinking is the convicted felon that is in the White House. And we should fight him really hard.
Ma'am.
Is this low enough? Okay. I'm Catherine Hunt. I'm from Monroe Township.
Thank you, recognize.
Thank you. And I do know what a city council does. I attend my city council meetings, and I attend others as well. And I've served on committees, so in my town, and contributed what I can on my level as a committee member. So many of us really do know what city councils do. I wanted to point out that passing a resolution is not performative. Of what it does, it helps our legislators know that our group, our population in our town, are in favor of a certain piece of legislation. And in this case, it's the Immigrant Trust Act. So that's why we're asking that you will pass a resolution, and that when you pass your resolution and post it, that you'll make sure that those letters go out to our representatives, which would be your senator and your two assembly people, that it also goes out to the committees in the legislature, in the state legislature, and to the governor. It informs them of the public support for this bill. It's very essential in our legislative process, and it's one way that people can have a voice and that the council can have more of a voice. So it is very important. And I wanted to remind you that when ICE comes, so far they have never respected the Fourth Amendment. I don't know if anybody here has taken a pledge to support the Constitution of the United States, but in the Fourth Amendment, it lays out who can come and take a person or a person's possessions and what that protocol is. that the person who comes to make an arrest or to enter a home, that person has to have a warrant signed by a judge. The judge looks over the evidence and decides whether there is probable cause. And if they so decide, then they will sign, the judge will sign the warrant. But ICE never has a judicial warrant. They really don't go after criminals at all. They simply go after working people and tear the families apart and discourage our businesses and interrupt their business days. It's important that you raise your voice and say, no, we shouldn't have masked people who are unidentified and don't have judicial warrants come in and just grab people, smash car windows, pound on people's door windows, and demand they come out of their homes or demand that they come out of their cars. This is not what our Constitution says, and we should uphold our Constitution. If we don't fight for it, we're not going to have it. And right now, we don't have it because this is what's going on today in our country. And somehow, we're the only ones fighting for it. You know, we're the only ones trying to defend our Constitution. We need you to defend it as well and stand up for our Constitution. And I might remind you of a poem. First, they came for the name your vulnerable group, but I was not a member of that group,
the
so I didn't stand up.
time's elapsed, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, but I'd like to encourage you to get out there and fight for our vulnerable groups, or ICE will be on your doorstep.
Ma'am, thank you.
Mary Walworth. I live in Woodbridge.
Thank you, you're recognized.
I happen to work in the Edison School District as a speech-language pathologist and have done so for 20 years, about to start my 21st. In my elementary school, we have a motto, a school motto, that is said at every morning announcement, and it goes like this: be respectful, do your best, show kindness. And I think we should model this for our children. We should be respectful of our Constitution and our families and our neighbors. We should, what's the second one? Be respectful, do our best, of course. And finally, for God's sake, we should choose kindness, not this barbarity. This is not us to be this so unspeakably cruel. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else that would wish to speak? Seeing none, can I get a motion to
portion, Councilman?
Motion to close.
Motion to close the
public portion by
public
Councilman Coyle,
Second.
Councilman Patel. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Public comment is now closed. Next, we'll move on to, from the council member to the planning board. Councilman Coyle, any update?
If you can just skip me for a moment, I have to just look at my notes. I'm sorry.
No worries. At this time, we'll move on to reports from all council committees. I'll start from my right, Councilman Brusher.
None at this time, sir.
Thank you. Councilman Coyle, any other committee reports you would like to do?
None at this time, sir.
Thank you. Councilman Patel?
None at this time, thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Patil?
None at this time.
Likewise, none on my end.
Council President,
Yes, Councilman
I
Coyle.
could go over the planning board right now. I may take 7 or 12 minutes. Is that okay? Just kidding. I am proud to say that the planning board came together and passed Route 27, which some of you know already, which is the redevelopment plan for the corner of Plainfield and Route 27. So there's going to be a new restaurant there and a bakery. It's called 85 Degrees. So finally, that corner is going to see some progress. It's fully approved, and looking forward to that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Coyle. At this time, we'll move on to points of light. Any points of light from my colleagues? Seeing none, I would be remiss if I didn't mention on behalf of the Council President the Jazz Festival that happened the other week. It was a great event, great weather, great performances. I had a good time in attendance as well. Likewise, this past weekend was the Edison House Music Festival, which was a good turnout from what I saw, and looking forward to the upcoming events. In terms of upcoming events, we have the 9/11 Remembrance Ceremony on Thursday, September 11th, 6 p.m. at the 9/11 Memorial here in Town Hall. On Saturday, September 13th, from 4 to 8 p.m. is the Great Big Italian Festival, again here at Lake Papiani. And Saturday, September 27th is the Fall Family Spectacular on Amboy Avenue from 1 to 9 p.m. This time we'll move on to discussion items. I'll start from my right, Councilman Brusher.
I'm going to save these comments for next meeting because I'd like to talk to the attorney about the affordable housing thing. And the veterans thing I'm working with Sonia on, so we haven't gotten back on that. And the flooding we all know about, but that's not settled. So I'll come back to this next meeting.
Thank you, Councilman Brusher. Councilman Coyle?
I'll keep it simple, Council President. I know we did some conversions on affordable housing. I just want to get a count from what that equals to and what our plan is moving forward. And I'm just truly concerned about the opioid money, the $13+ million, and how we're going to use that. I may talk about it at every council meeting, but I just think that it's important that some nonprofits in the area get involved. If we're going to do another RFP, if not, I just don't see why some people can't submit a proposal. I've read the grant, I've read it line by line, and I'd like to sit down and find out why we can't just have some small steps of spending that money in a colorful way for awareness. I'd love to see us get some swag for awareness. I think that's a simple base hit, that this township has swag. If it's not ordered already, I'm sure you're thinking about it, but it's $15 million we have, and it's just not a good disease. Opioids is affecting a lot of people. This money can be used for mental health as well. I just want to start seeing more progress. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Coyle. Councilman Patel?
The main one I want to talk about is the senior transportation. So I was told by some residents that we switched over to buses instead of cars for taking seniors to doctor's visits.
Do you mean the little smaller buses?
Yeah.
Yes.
So they were having issues because, A, their hips are not working that well and they're having hard time climbing it. I don't believe these buses have those easier, like, how in the New Jersey.
They are ADA accessible, so yes. So there is no issue with the buses.
Okay. And the other thing they complained to me about was that there is a longer wait.
It's got everything. It's my big thing.
Guys. Thank you.
There is a longer wait. When they go to the doctor's office before, they used to pick them up near the office. Now they have to wait out on the street, and I mean, right now it's okay, the weather seems to be okay, but they are worried that in the wintertime, if they have to wait for an hour out in the cold, because the buses don't go into a specific areas, which the old cars used to, from what I understand. I'm not sure where the disconnect is in the communication, but there was some changes that they're not appreciative of. Is that something we can correct?
I'll be forthcoming with you. Some of the issues were that the drivers were used to driving a one-person vehicle and taking one person to an appointment. The part of the program is that we can offer that to multiple seniors, and we're able to take them to multiple places, especially to their appointments. I've addressed any issues with the employees to make sure that anywhere they need to go is accessible. Oak Tree Road is probably one of them that maybe you're referring to, but they are still able to pick them up in as close as they can to those offices. JFK was another one. You know, you can't stay idle at JFK. That's part of the issue too.
Yeah.
So we've had open dialogue about their concerns, and I'll be honest with you, we're really not concerned in terms of, you know, what the wait times, and we didn't see any issue.
Okay. I mean, as of right now, they are okay with the, you know, waiting the time, but maybe we can try to bring down the time, or maybe have tracking. I know I can't expect Uber level service, but, you know, maybe we can bring it down to 5 minutes instead of the hour, that the driver could communicate that, hey, I'll be at the location in 5 minutes, and maybe the person can wait there for 5 minutes rather than an hour, because that's a big ask, especially in the winter if there's snowing or something.
I'll check to see with Dr. Patel what the issue is, if they truly are waiting for that entire hour for a driver. They shouldn't be.
If you need specifics, I can get the person.
If you could, that'd be great.
Okay,
And just give me a
perfect.
call tomorrow.
Okay, will do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Patel. Councilman Patil.
Thank you, Council President. Sanya, these are the repeat items from the prior meeting. So by next council meeting, if you can please provide me the updates. If there are anything that happened, like Comcast Road damages, we heard that you said, you know, the individuals can directly call you. But as the Comcast is expanding their footprint throughout the town, I think it's a high time to create probably some 1-800 number to report. We did that in past for the potholes, but again, an idea to communicate that could be a hotline. Utilities, and again, this is on especially on the Grove Avenue, there are several sections, they're still not, like the patch are settled, and they are kind of, it's a reverse speed hump. So not a good thing for the residents. So if you can please reach out to those utilities and see if they can repatch again. The rest of the things, you know, if you can send me an email about the status on the different projects, Grove Street, next Calvert Grove, the next steps. The important thing was the Brower Street paving. I was told, I think several months ago, that this summer this will be done. I don't know if this moved, something happened here. Council President.
I can actually give you a little update on the Brow Avenue. There was the subdivision that happened with the American Legion there. One of the conditions of approval was that they were supposed to repave the entire street. Brian had a correspondence with myself, and Sonia was CC'd on it, that they are working to get that bond money freed up and aiming, not guaranteeing, but with the upcoming paving that's going to happen, have it be added onto that, utilizing those bond funds to finance the paving.
Thank you, Council President.
The work was supposed to be done before school starts, so I'll follow up. They've got this week, essentially, to do it.
In fairness, you can kind of blame me because it was on the road repaving list. Then we had the subdivision. I was like, why pave it when they're going to pay for it? Yeah,
We
sorry.
saved some dollars.
Any other items? That's it. Thank you, Councilman Patil. And for myself, just because it was asked and it was advised before, for anyone that is used to Edison TV being on channel 15, that is now channel 1300. Again, Edison was not notified of it and is not under the township's purview as to the channel selection. Thank you. At this time, can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Patil, second by Councilman Patel. All in favor? Aye. This meeting stands adjourned at 9:45 PM.
My pleasure.